Hello, chat. Good evening. It's Thursday night. And someone tried to say 2 minutes late. Yeah. Sorry. I started when it was 9:30, so yeah. I'm making a sub. I'll be right away. Anyway, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Thursday night show. My name is Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I am a defense attorney out in the Cleveland, Ohio area, and we've got a lot to talk about tonight. As you can see from the title, the mayor of New York City was indicted. The first mayor of New York City to be indicted. I'm sure many of you are thinking, I don't know how you can be the mayor of New York City without being a massive crook, and I don't disagree with you. We also are going in the Wayback Machine to the aftermath of September 11th. And, probably one of the things I'd like to think was a massive impetus and driver for the Patriot Act and other tools of government oversight and surveillance that could be used against us. I'm going back to the DC snipers. I know some of you weren't actually alive for that, and we'll get to it. And Fanny's boyfriend is on the run. Actually, not anymore. Not anymore, apparently. That has been taken care of. So that has been sorted out. I promise you. From what I can tell, it's been sorted out. But yeah, guys, welcome. We are live on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, and Locals. If you guys aren't aware of Locals, Locals is everything that Patreon was supposed to be. And at potentiallycriminal.locals.com, just like Patreon, you can join the community for free, and we get to hang out. I post things, especially if I'm going on places or things that are going on there. We could talk about them. A lot of fun things there. All the stuff you were supposed to be able to do with Patreon, except Locals actually lets you do it. And if you guys wish to support me over there, you can support me for $3 a month. You pay for 10 months, you get 2 months free. And with that $3 a month, you get access to the live shows. We do a show every Monday night, starting at about 8:30. We usually run for about 3 hours. And then we also do a live show every Thursday. So right after this, we go hang out there. Stuff we couldn't get to here, stuff we can't talk about or show here. So basically, like anything involving guns, or we were anything at all, really. All of that we can go over to Locals. We hang out there. We usually have a fun time. I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. And that's at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. We also do a live chat every Thursday that goes along with the show while it's running. And I forgot to put that together, so I'm doing it right now. That goes along with the show where you guys can post to your heart's content. And if I happen to see anything over there that gets me laughing, certainly I'll take a look at it. But, depending on what kind of memes you show, yeah, I might not be able to do them here. And I might not be able to show it here, but I can at least laugh at them. So that's over at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. Once again, use a promo code not guilty. You get 1 month free access. 1 month free access. And I think you guys will enjoy it. It's a really good value. Everybody seems to like it. Alyssa Clips is saying Locals is where Sean shows his feet. Why would you give that away? Let them learn. Let them learn. Let them learn. Sandy says, I have gifted a membership sometime today. If Hurricane Helene gets me tonight, my life is complete except the body cam footage. Otherwise, complete. Well, when you put it like that, it's not too bad. Oh, funny stuff. Funny stuff. Oh, holy cow here. Where am I looking for? Yeah, here we go. So we've got a lot to talk about tonight. Some very quick updates on things. And yes, if you guys are not aware, there is a massive hurricane making its way towards what I always considered like the armpit of Florida, where like the panhandle and the main body connect. But apparently it's called the Bend. So if you're out that way, please be careful. It sounds like it's going to get rough. Just watch out for yourselves. Hope everybody's okay. Byron says, what the fuck is this? The new NFL kickoff? Hodor says, was this ever a law channel? Well, it's been a lot of cringe. I don't know if you can distill law out of it, sure, but it's been a lot of cringe. So I'm not going to lie about that. I certainly won't lie about that, because that's ultimately what it is at the end of the day. And I'm not saying you guys are cringe. I am saying I'm very much a lot of cringe there. That's just the way it is. Things will always be the same. Oh, you guys are horrible already. And there's Bill Cosby memes popping up in locals already. We're gonna put that on hold. Bill Cosby's got his own problems. And guys, can you let me know if Rumble is working? Because nobody's showing up over there yet. And gets me worried because people want me to use Rumble, but then Rumble doesn't actually do anything. Yeah, Nate Matthews right. In Florida, it's gonna rain. Afton Forest is the Big Bend. Okay. Oh, there you go. Whiskey 77777777 says it's working. Oh, there we go. Good, it's working. Yes, you can hunker down for the hurricane at Stoney's Bar and Grill. Yes, the disaster pack nachos are the best, I've been told. Oh God. But it is Thursday, and they have $2 cans at Stoney's. $2 domestic cans at Stoney's Bar and Grill, 158 Rockville, Minnesota. Just got done working on the patio. Got to get out to the patio, enjoy it tonight, folks. They're open till, I believe, midnight tonight, and it is just now a hair past 8:30, so you have time to enjoy yourself and get toe up over at Stoney's. Yes, just cause. You're right. This one's for you, Aaron. Stoney's got the cans that April doesn't have. Only at Stoney's. I need Stoney shirts. They don't sell them big enough. They would have to go to a boat sale maker to get me shirts. 1091 saying, how much locals? It is $3 a month. You pay for 10 months. You get 2 months free. So, guys, we normally give about 10 minutes. We're almost at that point. So let's get started. We've got a lot to get through tonight. And oh, hold on here. All right, guys. So if you are all set, let's get started. Robert says locals is $3 a month now. Wasn't it $5? No, it's always been $3. It's always been $3 a month for me. Other people may do $5 or more. I think at the time I put it at $3 because that was the low as I could go. So it's always been $3. Now, some people I think do more. Schnauzer Patrol says I'm leader. Is the leader of the Grays? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. This is a green neighborhood, and the Grays need to keep walking. It's sundown. All you Grays. Proof of life for Clyde, actually. Even though you're gray. Clyde! Clyde, come here, buddy. Sorry, I think he was outside going to the bathroom. Come here, buddy. Come on. Hey, Up here. Hey, Clyde. Dingle. Come here. Come on. Clyde, come here. Hey, come here. Clyde, come on. Don't just stare at me. Come on. Come on, buddy. Let me see here. Where is... Gotta get the treats out, I guess. He's smart enough. He knows. There. Now you see him. Come on. Come here. Hey. Hey. Come on. Clyde. Hey. Up here, buddy. He's like staring at the floor. Clyde, come here. Come on. Clyde, come here. You're killing the show. Come here. Come on. Come on. Clyde. Okay, he's killing the show. We'll try it again in a minute. Yes. Disloyal Clyde. I did not say to put him down. Clyde is dogging me, yes. Well, yes, the cheese tax song. Hey, when cheese comes out, Clyde gets his cheese tax. That is the one tax I happily pay. When a doggo wants to collect on the cheese tax, I always pay that tax. I never dodge it. Demon's Rats says, Clyde stare at me with a vacant expression when I do that? No, 2.0 stares at me with a vacant expression when I try to get her attention sometimes. But she also understands she's listening to a moron, so I get it. So, did he go to the farm? No, he's right here. He's just staring at me in the doorway. All right, guys. We'll get Clyde in a minute. I guess we'll start off with the big news of the week. Nick Rekieta, the Rekieta question, to quote Kino Casino, as they so eloquently describe it. Well, if you guys remember, Nick had his issues with the law out in the state of Minnesota. They saw him on the now infamous cocaine stream, show up with a white powder over his nose, acting like a crazy man. Well, what did they do after that? They went out and executed a search warrant. They found 26 grams of cocaine, multiple firearms, which, I still think that's kind of a BS charge, but he still got charged with it. Having firearms while in possession of drugs, and also child endangerment because kids were in the house with 26 grams of cocaine. Those 26 grams of cocaine put him in the higher end of the felony spectrum. So he's looking up to 25 years in prison on all of this. Now, that's not going to happen. He's not going to get 25 years in prison, even if he were to go to trial and lose. I still think it's going to work out in a way that's very favorable to him. But that's the long and the short of it. So in the meantime, Nick filed what's called a motion pursuant to Franks v. Delaware, and it's called a Franks motion. Colloquially. With that, you're challenging not necessarily just with the reasonableness of the search warrant in a way, like people might typically challenge a search warrant and a motion to suppress. He's challenging the fact saying, no, the police lied. That either they lied or they relied on such crazy facts and they acted with reckless disregard for whether or not those facts were true and didn't bother to check and verify things. Well, Nick filed his motion. At the omnibus hearing, it was challenged. The prosecutor responded. They gave their brief. And then Nick filed a reply response back on September 6th. The judge said, I need 30 days maximum to get back to you. Well, on the 24th, on Monday, he got back to us. And we covered this on Tuesday. We covered this in depth. But the long and the short of that story chat is this right here. The order is the defense. And guys, we're not going to read the whole thing because we've already done that before. And I'll be releasing a cut down version of Tuesday, tomorrow morning, thanks to our amazing clipper that's out there, an editor that we're working with. But anyways, the defendant's motion to schedule an evidentiary hearing pursuant to a Franks v. Delaware challenge is denied. The defendant's motion to suppress the firearms and ammunition being seized is denied. All other omnibus issues not argued with particularity or otherwise specifically identified to the court as a contested issue at the omnibus hearing, whether included in the written motion, whether included in the written notice or not, are denied having been waived by the defendant. Now, this is a very critical one because Nick challenged the search warrant under Franks v. Delaware. He didn't challenge this under a generalized theory of suppression, that this wasn't reliable, that the facts weren't valid, that these weren't reasonable things that could have been relied upon, like a traditional search warrant and a traditional suppression motion. Nick also didn't really challenge the probable cause, whether there was enough probable cause to sustain the charges. So Nick, as I talked about at the time, they were just so focused on the Franks motion, just laser beamed on it. They're like, oh, wait, oh, God, we forgot the rest of this. Well, they did. They didn't focus on the rest of it, so everything else is denied. And it's been deemed waived, meaning you can't bring it up anymore. You let it go. They got caught slipping. They were lacking, as the kids might say nowadays. And in response to this, the court administration shall schedule a settlement conference, meaning basically like a plea hearing. Can we have a plea conference and work this out? Maybe, maybe not. We'll find out when that gets set. It has not been set yet, as far as I know. And the memorandum of the court is incorporated by reference, and this is all dated on the 24th of September by the Honorable Judge Stephen J. Wenzel, the judge of the district court. So there you go. Basically, Nick got, to quote Unreal Tournament, monster kill. Basically is what happened right there. So that's what happened to Nick. That's what happened to Nick right there, guys. Now, what's going to happen from here? Well, we're going to have the settlement conference. That's going to happen. And presumably they're going to make a plea offer, and presumably Nick, I still think Nick's going to take it. Everybody's like, oh, Nick's going to go to trial. I'm like, I don't think going to trial is a good idea. It's not going to go well for him because they can still prove everything. They can still prove he did all the stuff. They're going to they'll bring in Detective Poplin. They'll bring in the cops who found everything. They'll probably play some body cam footage. And that's going to be it. They'll bring in the lab tech. I mean, you could do this probably 3-4 witnesses. It'll probably take them longer to pick a jury than for the state to present its case. And I've had those types of trials before. And as a judge I practice in front of says, he's like, I remember when I used to practice and do defense work, he's like, one of the judges I was in front of, and I forget the name. It's judge has been long dead now. Must a judge back in the 70s. He's like, he used to call these slow guilty pleas. And that's a very fair way to look at him. If he drags us out, it's going to be called a slow guilty plea. So, yeah, basically Nick's done. It's Dunsky. All the stuff that was going to happen, it's over. Yeah, I don't hope it doesn't happen there. Barnes could fix this. Yeah, I don't think so. Better call Barnes. I don't know what he's going to do, man. That's like calling. That's like if you're sitting on the Titanic as it's sinking and it's like the Titanic sinking and you're like calling the Harlan Wolf shipyard. It's like, hey, can you send some guys out to patch the hole? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Yes, in other news, the Judge Fisher, the woman who apparently, unlike Jesus, can make wine out of water, but has to squeeze it out of her orifices, has recused herself from April's case, and also has recused herself from the Nick V. Monty lawsuit. I'm sure because Judge Wenzel had to watch the entire 4-hour stream, and word of that got out, and now the judge has just completely recused herself because now there's no question on the case, removes any question of impropriety. So, yeah. Yep. Barnes will bring in some raw milk. Yes, that'll be That'll be Exhibit 1. Exhibit 1, Your Honor. Amish raw milk. What's this have to do with the case, counsel? Well, you don't understand Third Amendment jurisprudence. Luke says, does this mean they waived any Bruin challenges? Yeah, it looks like it. And this is where, because I actually spoke to Nate Brody, Nate the lawyer, about this, because we didn't know the answer to this question because we're not Minnesota attorneys. Well, we are practicing attorneys. We're not practicing in the state of Minnesota. This issue about during the omnibus hearing, can you raise an issue? Okay, that fails, then raise issues later. Turns out you can't. Because, I mean, and that makes sense because basically anywhere else, like here, you don't have an omnibus motion, but if I want to challenge like a case of a weapons under disability case, some guy with a felony has got a gun. Okay, I have to challenge how they found it. Okay, I got to file a suppression motion. Then I got to file a motion under Bruin. I have to file all those at once. I don't just get to file them and then like come back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You have to do them kind of like all at once. Denied is the Is the new interesting, yes. No more omnibussing. No more omnibussing. And Kurt, I hear that denied is the new approved. Yes. Yes, Kurt over at Uncivil Law, guys. Kurt does some great great content over there. I know he covered Eric Adams, the New York mayor's indictment today. I know he was also getting ready for Sarah Boone, except I think Sarah Boone, we'll get to that, has having a little hurricane problem. And yeah, you guys can find him over there on Civil Law. Always good content, and I think a very good friend of the show. And I hope you're doing well tonight, Kurt. Enjoying the weather down in Tejas. Yes, denied is the new funny and weird. It's so funny and weird. So, anyways, guys, moving on with that to Sarah Boone. Yes, Sarah Boone was supposed to have her hearing today, her big hearing about the motion to suppress and other things, getting ready for the trial set for October 7th. The judge in that case is still not letting Sarah get the case continued to allow her attorneys time to work on it. Sarah now has a team of 3 attorneys plus their staffs working on the case. I still don't think it's enough time. He should give them that time, but I don't think he's going to, sadly. The hearing was set for today. Well, there's a little thing called a hurricane, which kind of delayed everything down in Florida. So, yeah, it's all being held tomorrow. We'll find out what happens tomorrow. We might watch it tomorrow afternoon, guys. I have a trial that's set for, you're like, what kind of trial gets set on a Friday afternoon? It's a misdemeanor trial. It's a lot of fun. This one's really cool. And it's funny because it's an appointed case, and it's like the appointed ones are always like the most interesting, like as far as crazy stuff goes on. Anyway, it's set for 1:00. The state has asked to continue it because their officer wasn't available tomorrow. And the judge said, no, we're having trial tomorrow. I don't care. So I might not be having a trial tomorrow. I might be getting dismissed, or we might have a trial and I don't know how they're going to do it. But we'll get to Sarah Boone's hearing tomorrow afternoon, guys. I promise. I'll be busy at 1, but we'll get to it tomorrow afternoon. So we'll find out what happens. I'm sure the judge is not going to allow Sarah to do to win her motion of contempt. It does sound like her attorney messed up on a couple of things, but we'll find out. Nima says you're going to win tomorrow. I think we've got a pretty good argument, but this is one thing I will say. There's nothing wrong being confident in your case. But I think it's always important to remember the fates detest hubris. And I like, why do you talk about the fates? Well, I think it's a great example from Greek mythology. Hubris is something that you find in the Greek plays and the Greek tragedies that defines everything. And as I said before, one of the best examples of hubris in modern history in the past, 85, 90 years is the Japanese Navy as they set sail from Hiroshima Bay to go fight what became known as the Battle of Midway. They thought they had it in the bag. They're like, why do we need to War game preparation. Nah, we're going to win. And as I use the quote because I think it's great, as one of the air group commanders said as they were leaving. And they asked him, what's going to happen? And he's like, one touch of an iron sleeve, said Lieutenant Commander Fushida. We'll mow him down. That didn't turn out so well if you're not a big history buff. So I think it's good to be confident, but I think I always try to temper it. Just always try to temper it. So just saying. Sarah's trial starts October 7th. It's going to be a couple of days for jury selection. I don't know how long it's going to take. It sounds like her attorney said they could do it in a day or two, which I don't know how you could pick something like Sarah Boone in a day or two, but we'll find out. Yes, it's 3 weeks long. Yes, it's 3 weeks long. KJ said, give us the judge's email so we can tell him you're the best blogger in Ohio. He actually knows about my channel because he came across it somehow. I don't know how he got it or found out about it, but he did. And he thinks it's rather hilarious at times, some of the stuff I talk about. So he already knows it exists. And when he said, hey, I have a question about YouTube, I about crap my pants because I'm like, oh my God. So I'm not going to tell you guys about it. Oh. The judge is in chat. No, he does not watch live. From what I've been told. And what he's told me. All right, guys, we're going to move on to another person who has an update. So we covered Nick. We covered Sarah Boone. Hannah Reed. Yes, if you guys remember Hannah Reed, she is the armor that was on the movie set of Rust. And she went to trial and was convicted of manslaughter for being responsible for messing around with the ammunition that got all mixed up and jumbled up, somehow made into the gun Alec Baldwin used when Alec Baldwin went pew right into the director of photography's camera and killed Helena Hutchins and wounded the director of the movie. Now, Alec Baldwin, she went to trial back in March. Alec Baldwin went to trial in July. If you guys remember Alec Baldwin's case went for a couple of days. And then in the middle of trial, the issue about the bag of ammunition that Troy Teskey, one of the friends of Hannah Reed and Thel Reed, brought to court during the Hannah Reed case had been put away by the police department and put into a separate file and almost basically lost in a very convenient way that the defense didn't get to know about it. Now, it does sound like Alex Spiro and the gang on Baldwin's team knew about it. But remember, if the state is hiding evidence, it's the prosecutor's job to make sure that doesn't happen. Anyway, we get to that point, and that's where we had that beautiful hearing where Carrie Morrissey, the prosecutor herself, took the stand. And as she got there, the case basically imploded. And Judge Mary Marlowe Summer dismissed it with prejudice. In that case, in her findings, she basically chastised Carrie for the multiple discovery violations that happened throughout the pretrial status of this case. And then finally, the camel that broke the straw's back was the issue that happened during trial with potential Brady material being withheld from Alec Baldwin and his team. And because of all these violations, the judge finally dismissed it with prejudice. Since that date, that July 12th date, we have seen multiple things from Carrie where she's filed motions saying, no, judge, no, stalker child, you've got it wrong. I was actually the right one. She filed a 50-page motion with nearly 400 pages of exhibits. Judge Summers said, nope, not hearing it, don't care. Carrie tried to file another one, recently. And then Alec Baldwin's attorney, Alex Sparrow, and Luke Nikes dropped a scorcher of a motion on Carrie Morrissey that they filed last week. And we covered this week. We covered, I think, last night, actually. And it was just a scorcher of emotion. They lit that woman on fire. Very, very well done. Well, since all of that happened in Alec Baldwin's case, Jason Bowles, Hannah Reed's trial attorney, filed motions for a new trial, basically arguing all this stuff that Alec Baldwin got withheld from and he never got. We never got either, so we should get a new trial at the very least. Or, in the alternative, what they really wanted was a dismissal of the charges with prejudice. So, today was the day they had their hearing on that. And it was really awkward because we covered this today, and I think it's very worthwhile to listen to here. This is from Jason Bowles, and they made a pretty big oopsie. I think Jason Bowles made a couple of critical missteps. I don't think the court's going to grant any of these motions in Hannah's favor. And this is one of the big ones here. And one of the big ones here you're going to hear is an affidavit from Erlinda Johnson. Erlinda Johnson was the other prosecutor helping Carrie Morrissey during the Alec Baldwin trial. And she's the one who quit right as the wheels fell off. And we'll go over her affidavit because it's very revealing. But just listen to this and listen to what I think Jason Bowles did here. I don't think it's very good for Hannah. So here we go. Guys, it was a lot bigger than an oopsie poopsie, let me tell you.
And so, Your Honor, I'm asking that this court, in its inherent power, remove her from further prosecution of the arrest case. And we were asking for a dismissal on the same basis as this court dismissed Mr. Baldwin's case.
All right, thank you. Response?
Initially, I want to just ask, Mr. Bowles indicated that there was an affidavit provided by Ms. Johnson. I don't have that. I haven't seen it attached to any of the pleadings, so I'm not sure what he's referring to. So
don't play fucking dumb, Carrie. It's in the Alec Baldwin case. You know it. And that's the issue. The affidavit for Erlinda Johnson was filed by Alec Baldwin's attorneys. But she's arguing, I don't know what that is. I haven't seen it. Now, she's playing a little dumb here, but she's also right. But the way she plays this whole, I just don't understand what's happening here. Fucking exists. You know it fucking exists. Don't fucking lie about it. Don't play like a retard here. That is bullshit from her. That is bullshit from her.
obviously he mentioned.
But I will point out, and this is fair of her to say, the court can't take notice of another case like that. But for her to argue, I don't know what you're talking about.
It. Can I get some insight into when that was provided?
Your Honor, I will try to locate this in the pleadings, but
I will give Carrie credit. At least she didn't do the whole thing where she does that, or she does a whole thing. I'll give her credit for that. But yes, here's Bowles saying, I screwed up.
There was an affidavit filed with that's in the court record in the recent Baldwin response. But I think I've attached one in this case as well. I just would have to find it.
Let me look forward to a real quick chat, and we'll go over it afterwards.
Is it in here? When did you file it?
Judge, I thought I filed it with our motion, our reply to dismiss, but I'm not seeing it right away. The motions I printed out don't have the exhibits, Your Honor, so I'm not seeing it.
Well, I just went through every motion that's on Odyssey that has the exhibits attached, and it's not there. So,
okay. All right. And that's a problem, because you can't go through and take judicial notice of things like that because it's not in your case. It's in another case. So what happened? Well, Alec Baldwin's attorneys filed a motion, and in one of their exhibits, they have an affidavit from Erlinda Johnson. Yes, you're reading this right. The prosecutor or the defense attorneys got the former prosecutor to write an affidavit in support of them. That is very, 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 very interesting. And not a good look for Bowles. Not a good look for Hannah Reed here. Because what does that affidavit show? Well, the affidavit is of Erlinda Johnson, Esquire. And if you guys can't read too well, I'm trying to highlight it. And she says, I, Erlinda Johnson, being of age and majority, do attest to the following. I'm a licensed attorney in the state of New Mexico. And she's like, I've been practicing law for over 28 years. My office is in Albuquerque. I was appointed to work as a special prosecutor on State v. Baldwin as co-counsel for Special Prosecutor Carrie Morrissey. She points out that Carrie did not give me an expert report, references the third Hague report. That's one of the pretrial reports that was never given to Alec Baldwin's team and prior to the defense's pretrial interviews. Carrie Morrissey did not tell her that this report existed prior to the first interviews of those expert witnesses. Carrie didn't tell her about the report until May 21st, as they were starting to have pretrial issues about motions to compel and that the state was withholding evidence. And she said, had I known of the third report, I would have disclosed it immediately. And then she said 2 weeks or so prior to trial, defense counsel emailed me only, not Carrie, just her, asking me to review a production provided by the district attorney's office. Okay, and they were told it had been heavily redacted by the issuing agency. Okay. Carrie Morrissey suggested to me that I ignore the discovery request from defense counsel. So you're hearing this right. You're hearing this right. Carrie Morrissey told me not to provide them with discovery requests. She told Carrie Morrissey, she said, I won't ignore it. And I already had my own ethical obligations to ensure proper discovery was disclosed. Yes, she does. So she had 2 people help her and review the nearly 5,000 pages of documents, and they unredacted everything to which the defense was entitled. She uncovered additional items to disclose to the defense, which amounted to thousands of pages. So she did what she was supposed to do, find more things. Carrie Morrissey instructed me to not talk to defense counsel over the phone. The trial began on July 9th. She said, I resigned from the prosecution on July 12th during trial because I learned of undisclosed evidence during trial and felt my obligations called for me to withdraw. She said, I didn't resign because I didn't want a public hearing. During the lunch hour, I advocated for Carrie to dismiss the case. And she said, during the morning and lunch hour break, after conducting legal research and evaluating what I learned that day about what had transpired with the Teskey ammunition that had not been disclosed, I believe the right thing for the state to do is dismiss the case on its own motion. But Carrie Morrissey disagreed. And she said nothing more, and she swore this out the 23rd day of August, 2024. So I'm so confused. Is this line Sean speaking? I'm not sure I don't know what you mean by that. Sorry, I'm a little confused. Yes, it's live. It's live me speaking right now. Sorry, it's probably a little confusing there. Listen to me. That was from earlier today when we watched the hearing. So, but yes, this was, so now we know a lot. Carrie Morrissey was like, don't give them stuff. Don't talk to them. Just absolutely freaking horrible. Foley says, but there's a watermark on the copy of the affidavit. Yeah. Funny. But yes, Jason Bowles shit the bed on this. These critical affidavits and things weren't included. It's bad. And I've already said this before. I think Bowles had committed ineffective assistance of counsel on how he did things. And this is really bad. This is really, really bad here. This is really bad. And Maureen Memento is saying, this is extremely confusing for an average idiot like me. But here's the thing. If you're not getting if you don't understand something, there's going to be other people out here that don't understand it too. So don't call yourself an idiot. I sincerely mean that. But don't you in other cases reference other cases all the time? Sure. We might refer to Marbury v. Madison, Mapp v. Ohio, Bertine v. Colorado, Opperman versus South Dakota. What else is out there? Like Heller versus District of Columbia, INS v. Shada. Those are cases we might refer to, or it might be like State v. Rekieta, State v. Johnson, the holding in State v. whatever. Those do exist. But you're saying those are the holdings generally in cases where other things have happened, and you're providing that information to the court for them to take notice of how that happened there. The problem is Bowles didn't properly do any of that. He didn't cite it. If he wanted to cite it, he should have put it in his motion. But you can't, when it's a case in front of the court and another companion case, you can't just do it the way he did it. You have to properly bring the documents in. And if I wanted to reference, for example, not what the result of a case was, but let's say in the case of Mapp v. Ohio, there was a suppression motion filed, and there was an exhibit inside one of the motions that was filed. If I wanted to talk about that motion, I need to go get that motion, yank it out of that file, make a copy, and then stick it in my motion. If I'm talking about specific bits and parts of another case, I have to show that bit and part. If I'm talking about overall how a case got resolved or how something occurred in a case, that's a little different, giving the overall issues. So I understand what you're getting at here, but this is where you're actually saying, hey, there's an affidavit. Well, you need to provide that affidavit. And he could have got a copy of it without a problem. So I understand what you're bringing up there, but it's actually not a bad question. It's not a bad question the way you phrase that. Matty B says, is there anything Hannah could do to remedy this, like firing Bowles and arguing ineffective assistance of counsel? Yes, she can, and she should. Bowles has been horribly ineffective. Horribly ineffective, I think. Hannah, I still think that to this day, if Hannah Reed had simply said, I want the public defender, I can't afford an attorney, she probably would have got she would have had a better showing than this. She might not have gone to prison. No, I'm not saying Jason Bowles is a horrible attorney. Sure, he's been practicing for a long time. Doesn't sound like he's ever had problems. It's just this case, he is not doing the performance of a lifetime. He is not doing himself justice here. And she probably should back off from this case and withdraw and help Hannah find new counsel, because he's not helping her. He's not helping her. Oh, and it says, why the dead air? Did I, what? It was like a 45-second. Really? It was like 45 seconds of dead air? I'm sorry. I didn't hear it. Sorry, chat. The camera's been on the whole time, huh? Yeah. I guess I must have missed something here, guys. Sorry, my bad. Sorry, I guess I was listening to something and not hearing you guys. Oh, my God. Jeez. I didn't even know I did it, chat. Sorry. I was confused about what you guys were getting at there. I wasn't muted. No sounds for me. Somebody saying, I didn't hear dead air. I didn't hear dead air. Yeah, you guys are... Luke says, wait, what's that South Dakota case? South Dakota v. Opperman. It's about, like, inventory searches, so it's not really that interesting. Bowles didn't make great arguments, yes, but the problem for Bowles, his arguments weren't supported by any case law. And when you're not supporting things with case law, generally speaking, that's a sign to the court and the other side, you don't have anything. And your arguments aren't the best. Because if you had case law that supported you, you would bring up, hey, these other like everybody else agrees with me. But if you don't bring it up, there's generally a presumption you don't have that kind of support. Do you ever reference left v right Twix? No. I do reference less filling versus tastes great, though. Bad Petunia says, how do you avoid hiring a crap attorney? The best way you can do that is asking around. You know, who are good attorneys in the area? If you ever happen to run into a judge, like, who would you hire? Sometimes judges will tell you. Another good example of that is, like, if you know cops. And I say, don't talk to cops. But, like, let's say you have an uncle who's a cop. Hey, who would you hire in town to defend you? And they have a pretty good idea who the good attorneys are. But some of that's going to be just sitting down talking. Do they sound knowledgeable? Do they act like they have their shit together? You can go online. I'd be careful about reading online reviews. But if somebody's got a ton of really good ones, that's a good indicator. That doesn't always mean anything. Some of that stuff is kind of garbage anyway, but that can be a way you look, and you just try to look things up, see how they do. Calbrick says, why does he suck so bad? I don't know. I don't know, but he just, Bowles missed a lot of the simple stuff here, and I don't know why. It sounds like he's not a bad attorney overall. It's just this Hannah Reed case has not been his best showing ever. More Memento saying, so he didn't turn his homework in on time, let's say. Yeah, kind of, but the sad part is this homework affects Hannah, and Hannah's still sitting in prison. So it's even worse. You mess up and someone else pays the price for it. Hannah should have been released yesterday. She's not going to get, like, here's the thing. Judge Summer is not going to release her. She won't do any of that. And I don't think the Court of Appeals is going to overturn anything. Remember, yeah, it's just not going to happen, chat. Just telling you the truth. He didn't speak for a while earlier. I'm like 15 seconds. Okay, yeah, that's why I was like, it took me a second here, I guess. I don't know. Of course you didn't hear it's dead air, but yeah, I don't know. You guys are just whatever. I spaced for a minute. I don't recall. I was reading. Oh, okay, maybe. We're not trolling you, Sean. Well, maybe you are. Sometimes it's hard to tell. If Hannah had a good attorney, she'd be getting out. I think she'd have a lot better chance of getting out if Hannah had a better attorney. You blacked out for 15 minutes. It's like that one show. What's that one show? God, I remember I never watched it, but I remember the premise was like everybody on Earth like blacked out for like 15 minutes and they were trying to figure out what happened in the meantime. So, yes, then that's the other thing Bowles did. He waived all his attorney-client communications on cell phone earlier. Yeah, Bowles has not been the best when it comes to things. Real quick, Fatty K says, why can't you watch it here on Locals? Because you can't. Can the lawyers amend the filings? Not really at this point. There's no way for them to do that. It's kind of over. It's Jover, chat. Oh, it's flash forward. That's what it was. Okay, that's funny. Peppa Pig. Yeah, that's the premise of Peppa Pig. Everybody passed out, and there's a major conspiracy. Oh, I'm Peppa Pig. All right. Anyway, we're gonna keep moving. I just thought that was very interesting. That's an example of just not being a good lawyer, And we're moving on from that chat to a story that we had briefly talked about, but hadn't resolved itself yet. And that is the story of Travis King. You guys remember him. He was the U.S. soldier who defected to North Korea last year and apparently didn't know anything or was so goddamn annoying. The North Koreans were like, you can have him back, America. We're not going to take him. Now, I think part of this may have been Kim Jong-un going like, I already have Dennis Rodman. I don't need 2 black friends. I'll give you back this one. So what happened in this situation? Well, Travis King was in a lot of big trouble with the military. He was in trouble because he had gotten into a fight at a bar in South Korea. And this is him. He got into a fight at a bar in South Korea. And what happened from there? Well, he spent time in the jail in South Korea, a couple days in jail. The military picked him up and they were sending him back to America to face military discipline here. Well, he got to the airport in South Korea and the military police escorted him as far as they could get in the airport. But it wasn't to the gate. They weren't allowed all the way to the gate to put him on the plane. So when that happened, Travis here, as a brilliant young man, ran around basically the back door of the airport, ran out to the arrival line, walked out of the airport, got a tour with a tour going to the demilitarized zone. If you guys know what the demilitarized zone is, it's that place with the blue buildings on the Korean border. And the DMZ, it's the let's see, there's some good pictures of it here. Forgot to bring up pictures so you guys can see it. If you guys ever watch, it's the place where Trump and Kim Jong-un met and they shook hands. And this is a great example of it. It is. No, I don't want that. No, not that one. This is a great example of the demilitarized zone. If you guys have ever seen it before and you didn't know what it was, this is what it is. This is from the South Korean side facing across North Korea. And this little black bar right here, it's a little concrete bar, is the border. And there'll be North Korean guys that'll stand right here. And they stand right here and they stare back and they go, oh, mean faces. And then they have North Korean guys up here looking down with binoculars, all kinds of stuff like that. So anyway, what happened? Well, Travis basically got on one of these tours and he went bloop, ran across the border and sought asylum and defected. Literally, that's how the guy did it. Yes. Now, he's very lucky he didn't get shot crossing this. This is a very dangerous place. Very, very, very dangerous place. That could have happened. He could have gotten killed crossing the border. And there are stories of U.S. soldiers throughout since the time of the Korean War who have defected, and they almost got killed, each one of them. He's probably had the best luck. So he was sent to North Korea. He went to North Korea, and he ran away from the sightseeing tour. And as he was there, he defected to North Korea to escape mistreatment and racial discrimination in the United States Army. And those are all things the North Koreans love, rubbing their thumb and, rubbing it in America's face. Well, it completed its investigation. North Korea decided to expel him in September for illegally intruding into a territory. They're like, we not like this man. We not like him, which I think is very racist. And very racist. Yes, it's a racism for the Korean government, the North Korean government, to say we don't want him. Now, I don't know why they didn't send him back, but they did. It probably would have been because there was no value in him. They didn't see they could use him as a bargaining chip. I'm not really sure. Maybe there was a prisoner swap for him very covertly. I don't usually think those happen without anybody knowing. Maybe they're just like when they had him sitting there, he kept talking during movies or something. They got really, really mad and they sent him back. Well, when they sent him back, the U.S. military ended up charging him under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. And remember, chat, the military has its own separate legal system, its own separate set of laws. They generally mirror the laws we have here in the civilian life, but they have a bunch of different ones that only exist in the military. So he pled guilty to 5 counts recently, including desertion, assault on a non-commissioned officer, and 3 counts of disobeying an officer, as part of a deal that was accepted by a military judge on Friday. So, under the terms of his plea deal, his attorney said, Travis was sentenced to 1 year of confinement, so 1 year of incarceration. He was reduced in rank to private E1. E1 is the lowest rank you can have. E1 is what everybody is when they join the military, if you're enlisted. You can join the military and you go into boot camp, you're in E1. Everybody might, some people start a little higher, but generally everybody starts up like that. From there, he forfeited all pay and allowances, and he got a dishonorable discharge, meaning he basically got a felony conviction. It's the worst kind of discharge you can get, and it's treated like a felony conviction. He will be sent home with nothing. He gets no veterans benefits. Nothing good comes from this. He tries to apply somewhere for a job. He probably won't get jobs. And with the time he's already served jail time, and he gets credit for good behavior while he's sitting in jail, being a good boy, not causing problems. He is now free and going home. So basically they cut him loose and said, get the fuck out. Now he's very lucky. They could have charged him with desertion in face of the enemy. They could have charged him with, technically the Korean War is not officially over. There are ceasefires in place, but there's multiple charges you could get charged with, including, misconduct in the face of the enemy. A bunch of those charges can result in you getting tied to a post and shot. Now, we haven't done that since World War II, but there's very severe charges he could have faced. But he did get the dishonorable discharge, so that says something at least. So the U.S. Army's Office of Special Trial Counsel, that's with the prosecution. They confirmed the plea deal as part of the deal. And so pursuant to the terms of the plea deal, his other charges will be dismissed. And they say the outcome of today's court-martial is a fair and just result that reflects the seriousness of the offenses committed by Private King, said one of the prosecutors. And notice a prosecutor is a military officer as part of the JAG Corps, the Judge Advocate General Corps in the military. They handle the defense work, but they also do the prosecutions. And some of you might say, well, wait, his lawyer here doesn't have a military title in front of it. Because you also have the right to have civilian counsel. You can hire civilian counsel to represent you in these military matters. There are a lot of attorneys who do that, especially in towns with garrisons. So like Fort Bliss, Fort Hood, Fort Benning, Fort, up in Washington at Joint Base McCord, around Air Force bases, Navy bases, Camp Pendleton, all those places. They have attorneys who either were former Judge Advocate Generals, former military members who then went to law school, or people who just have that knowledge and they defend in those types of cases. It's not uncommon at all. But yes, he basically got drummed out, and that's it. I think it's very interesting they did that, and this is all he got was just a reduction in rank and nothing else happened to him. Especially we saw what happened with Bradley Manning. We saw what happened to other people in the, Reality Winner. They leaked documents and things like that, and they got multiple years in prison. This guy defected to North Korea and only got he basically got time served in a dishonorable discharge, which, that's not too bad of a deal. You get out right away. It doesn't cost you anything. Dark Lotus says, allegedly he was in possession of cheese pizza. The Jags dropped those. I heard that, but I don't know if that's true. Matty B says the military hasn't executed anyone in decades. Well, like Eddie Slovik was the last guy they killed with a firing squad, but people have been executed over at Fort Leavenworth. Goalie says dishonorable discharge was my name in college. Oh yeah, embarrassing. Hubble says he got off light to say least. I think so. I think he got off very light ultimately. Joe Loy says not like his life was ever in danger. He crossing that line is very dangerous. He could have got shot very easily by the North Koreans. I wouldn't trust them in that regard. Benjamin Lewis says can't possess a weapon if the government does the paperwork this time. Yeah. But really, I mean, if you're already being a criminal, generally speaking, it's not like that's going to stop you from getting a hold of a gun. And, all right, guys, real quick, we are going to get to some super chats here real quick. Kazuhiro Miro says, well, he's not the first, LOL, believe it or not, or just the most recent. Well, he's the most recent of note. And yes, and guys, believe it, I'm not joking when I say this. There is a history of U.S. soldiers defecting to North Korea from South Korea. And generally, like King, they are guys who are considered to be shitbirds. They have broken rules and gotten in trouble. And instead of facing the music for getting some minor punishment, they ran across the border in North Korea. Richard Dresnock is one of the biggest ones, most famous ones. He defected in the 60s to North Korea and became a staple in the North Korean film industry. As their propaganda films, he played the role of the evil American as this big fat guy smoking cigars in an American uniform. So yes, there are Americans that defected to North Korea for a very long time. And Richard Dresnock died. His children are in the North Korean Foreign Ministry, and they are, blonde-haired white guys who speak perfect Korean. It's very weird. There's documentaries about it. It's very weird to watch. Dagamore says there are a bunch of mines on the border. Yes, there are. Not in that area right there. With his IQ, he's really lucky he did not learn a new high jump. Well, if you run through that area, it's actually safe in that regard. They could still shoot you, but there's no mines. Joe Loy says desertion. Yeah, not like the desertion where you get killed for it. Michael says Biden's going to pardon him. I don't think he will. Kazuhiro Miller says UCMJ is its own law. Yes, it is. And that's the thing about the Uniform Code of Military Law. They have their own courts of appeals. And then they each branch has its own court of appeals. And then there's like an overall court of appeals for the entire U.S. military. And from there, people can appeal their case up to the United States Supreme Court, because the United States Supreme Court does have authority over the United States military. They are the Supreme Court. Very rarely do those cases make it that far, but they do sometimes. Robert Lawrence says, was he in uniform when he went over the border? No, he joined a civilian tour, and he was kind of hiding, and nobody knew where he was for a while. They thought he got on the plane. He found some place to go where he could get civilian clothes and snuck over in civilian clothes. Is this pre-recorded? No, it's live. No, it is live. The part from the Hannah Reed hearing was pre-recorded this morning. And Travis also gets no military benefits with that discharge. Yes, a dishonorable discharge is the worst in that regard. So you guys are being ridiculous. Anyways, we need to catch up on a bunch of stuff here. Antoinette Kilpatrick is a new member. Thank you, Antoinette. Or Antoinette. Thank you for your support. Potentially Criminal gifting Tad Sobs. Thank you so much for your support. And Richard Gruber for $5, saying always with the AK drum mag, always timeless, and the ski mask. And is that a Gorka hood? I can't tell. I think it is. Says, I survived the hurricane. Lots of debris in my yard to pick up in the morning. Well, glad you're in one piece, man. Glad you're in one piece. And Stacy gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you for your support and your generosity. Kazuhiro Miller is saying, ask yourself, Sean, has Nick ever done the right thing when it comes to court? Seriously? Well, I mean, everybody thinks they want to go to trial until they have to go to trial, man. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. Malcolm Combs for $2 is saying, speaking of Japan, Uzumaki finally on Saturday. Sounds cool. Benjamin Lewis says, can we talk to the court in a YouTube trial with super chats in lieu of a real trial? Yeah, that'd be great. Some of these courts that do YouTube, if their interns actually set up like TTS, so it starts working in the middle of trial. Yes. Yes. Turd Monster 9000 for $5 says, just plays along. That'd be great in the middle of trial. I don't want that. I don't want that. Oh my gosh. Razgriz Reborn, how you doing, man? It's good to see you. It's been a little while. Hope you're doing well. Have you seen the Smash JT cease and desist sent by Alyssa Mercanti? It's worth a read. I'll have to take a look at that one because I saw the one that they sent to the farms, which I think is absolutely fucking hilarious. I plan on covering that. I haven't had a chance to like sit down and go through it, but I do know the time has come and passed, and it looks like Alyssa Mercani hasn't done shit about it. So that was all impotent flailing, but we'll cover that one too. I don't think I've seen the Smash JT letter. Hold on. Yeah, no, I have not seen that, but yeah, we will we'll take a look at it. Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be kind of worded and just reused. Yeah, this is all yes, from the great Cusk law firm, the Lolcow stable that exists, KUSK, the Lolcow stable. I think that's what they need to be known as now. Not just a firm of attorneys, but a stable of Lolcows. But yes, we'll take a look at that, Razgriz. EDW Raptor gifted 20 subs. Thank you very much for the support. Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you for the generosity as well. EDW Raptor for $10 says, YouTube finally fixed my ability to give subs, making up for it. No, don't have to make up for it. I just appreciate it, you being here. I appreciate your banter. EDW Raptor for $5 more saying, back to continue moving the Greys along. That's right. If you guys are new, we don't tolerate the Greys here. We are doing a genocide against the Grey names. We're going to purge them from the chat. It shall be a sea of green. It will look like a group of Hezbollah and Hamas supporters out there. Just green as far as the eye can see. EDW Raptor with 10 more sobs. Thank you again, EDW Raptor. And then we've got from Z Michael Gelke for 15 Myanmar ringgit. I think it's ringgit or the ringgit or the ringgit. I don't know how you pronounce it. Sorry. The new amicus brief is super chatting the judge. Oh my God, that would be really bad. That could be very bad. A 200 character amicus brief would be very scary. And then EDW Raptor for $5 more says, we're setting up a green neighborhood watch. Want to join? Of course, I'm down. I'm always down. Yes, from the liver to the knee. We are proud Greys. You will see how for how long? For how long will you be proud? Gray Freedom, no. Nope. Slap Jackson says, did you finally make a Kiwi Farms account? Well, there's a potentially criminal account. Yes, that's me, but there's other ones that are out there that I have. Kazahir Miller says, get your wooden doors. You know, it's you said it, not me, but I'm, what's not to love. We'll get rid of the grays one way or another, chat. Yes, gray names are gay names. Oh. Dell says the YouTube trials must have a public defender goal. If it isn't completed, the defendant must represent himself. Yes. The judge says, well, chat, have you met the goal for the defendant? Sorry, sir, you're pro se. That would be so bad. Oh my God, that would be horrible. Says, you're not green, though. Well, yeah, I know I'm different. I'm blue. And it's not just bleu. It's bleu foncé. Dark blue. Powerful blue. I'm the whole DSP board. Yeah, I'm all the dead tractors. I'm all of them. All right, guys, we need to keep moving here. We need to keep moving. We got stuff we got to do. We got to get going. So, hold on here. Okay, now moving on, we're going to get to something here that I think is, I mentioned it at the beginning. We're going to take a trip down memory lane. And this is something for those of you out there, if you haven't ever remembered or really thought about it, we're going back to right after September 11th. In October of 2001, basically the entire month, throughout the suburban DC area, including Southern Maryland, Northern Virginia, and the District of Columbia itself, a sniper was running around killing people at gas stations. So people were getting out of the cars, getting gas, and they were getting shot. And nobody knew who it was. And there were all kinds of things we knew about at the time. We were hearing stories. It's a white man in a white van. We just didn't know who was doing it. Well, we eventually caught the people who did it. And those guys were people I don't know if you've ever heard of them. Some of you might not, especially you whippersnappers out there, you Zoomers. It was these two guys. It was John Allen Muhammad and Lee Boyd Malvo. Now, Lee Boyd Malvo was only 17 at the time. John Allen Muhammad was an older gentleman at the time. He was in his 30s. So, and it turns out it wasn't a white man in a white van. It was two black guys. And I shit you not, this is basically how they did it. In a Chevrolet Caprice. Like this. And they did this. They cut a hole in the trim of the trunk and laid down in the back of the car, poked an AR-15 through that, fired a shot, and then drove off. As one of them was driving up front, the other laid down, did the shot, and then they drove away. It was a very impressive setup. And if you're ever planning on doing, Kurt's like, I thought it was a van. No, it was not. But I'm not going to lie. If you ever do want to engage in like reaching out and touching people with kinetic objects and throwing copper, using a van and setting up on something and kind of making like a makeshift sniper hide in a van is not a bad idea because it allows you to be a little more conspicuous. But these guys did it the ultimate gray man way in the back of a car, a non-conspicuous car that rolls around everywhere. So no, it was a Chevy Caprice. And also I will want to say, if you're ever going to play urban games, Yeah, not a bad idea. Also, this is a good book. Not for really any real reasons. Days is the late 90s. No, this was October of 2001, right after September 11th. This happened right after September 11th. These guys were running around killing people. Guys, this goes back. We're talking about back in the day, man. And it was in October 2002. Not October 2001. It's October 2002. Yeah, this was insane. And it was the aftermath of all of that, September 11th, the Patriot Act, all these things, and they couldn't figure it out. They couldn't figure out who these guys were. But eventually they got stopped. And there is and I'll show it if I can show it real quick here. Hold on. Let me see if there's an image I can show you guys. I'm gonna have to block out part of the picture here. Let me see. There's actually a good picture of how they were using it. And I can show up. I'll have to block out the gun real quick. Where is it? Hold on here. I had it somewhere. Where I literally just had it. I think I canceled it. Oh yeah, here you go. This is basically how they did it. This is basically how they did it right here. This is basically how they did it. Pop, pop. And, obviously we're going to cover that up. And we're going to cover this up because, hey, that's nothing important. But that's how they did it. Kept the trunk lid down even further. Bang! Pulled the trunk and drove off. Yeah. There was all kinds of crazy stuff. There's all kinds of crazy stuff out there when this all happened, guys. So it's anyway, they were both so it was, and if you guys were not aware, there were basically 15 total attacks they were accredited to. They killed 17 people and wounded 10 others in a 10-month span. But from the October timeframe, October of 2002, 10 people were killed. So that's what happened there. And as we go back to the picture of these two guys, John Allen Muhammad he got the death penalty. He was executed in 2009. Lee Boyd Malvo was given life in prison without parole because he was a juvenile at the time. Well, since then, he has been able to challenge the length of his sentences. And that's because Supreme Court ruled in 2012 that you can't give minors life in prison or life in prison without parole without doing proper findings of fact and sentencing. So basically, any juvenile who got sentenced at that point got a resentencing hearing. Well, Lee Boyd Malvo was set to get that. And in 2022, the Maryland Supreme Court, because that is where he is currently, said he is entitled to get that. Well, for right now, he is stuck. Lee Boyd Malvo is stuck in the state of Virginia serving a life sentence. The state of Virginia had him first, and he's serving his life sentence. He was up for parole in 2022. He got denied parole, and they have not let him out anytime soon. Well, his charges in Maryland, and this is where it gets interesting, he is asking to be resentenced in the state of Maryland. But it's indefinitely postponed. And why is it indefinitely postponed? Because Virginia will not release him out of prison to go attend court sessions in Maryland. Now, here's the thing. They're not just going to release him like, oh, hey, walk out the door and he drives to court in Virginia. He would be escorted out by Maryland law enforcement, would come pick him up, take him to court. and take him to court up there. But the state of Virginia is saying, nope, we're not going to let him do that. Oh, Nicholas Croy says, what the fuck, Steve? What's up? I just got that. I was like, well, this seems sus. Why did this pop up on my screen? And I clicked exit on it. I'm not clicking it. I'm glad I wasn't the only one. That was weird. That makes me feel better. So anyway, he is stuck in Virginia, and because of that, Maryland can't resentence him. Now, Lee Boyd Malvo, this is him right now. He's 37 years old. He was 17 when he got convicted and caught. So he's not allowed out. And because of that, the rulings and changes have abolished the ability to sentence minors in prison to life without parole. Okay, so he has to get heard. The problem is he won't be released, but what he's even wrote a letter and made an offer to the state that he'd be allowed to attend the sentencing hearing in person. He wants to be there. But the issue is Governor Glenn Youngkin says due to his violent criminal history, Mr. Malvo should complete his Virginia sentence before being transferred to Maryland. Well, they haven't allowed that. And they point out because he wants to be there in person, since he wants to be there in person, Virginia won't release him. They have no choice but to wait until he serves his time in Virginia. And he's serving a life sentence, but he's eligible for parole. Now, here's the issue. Lee Boyd Malvo has said to the state of Maryland, hey, guys, let me come across, resentence me, but allow my time to run concurrent because I've already served 20 years. Virginia's going to keep me for a while longer. That way, when I'm done in Virginia, I'm done here. And some states do that. They will run concurrent sentencing. But that's not been guaranteed. But he has made that offer. He made it in writing. It's something that he has actually agreed to. Now, since he couldn't be there, he attended the hearing virtually. Now, here's the thing. They could resentence him if he was willing to appear virtually because that is a way you can do things. But he hasn't allowed it to happen. And the issue with virtual hearings, though, generally, like we do it all the time now because of COVID, when you're dealing with prisons, is a little different because sometimes their audio sucks and their internet sucks. There were 3 times where the video hookup between the courthouse and the prison got disconnected. Now, the Montgomery County State's Attorney, this is the prosecutor for the people in Maryland who want to prosecute him. They said it's too early to say what kind of prison term he would seek once there's a sentence in Maryland. He said, though, any prison sentence imposed on him in Maryland should be in addition to the time he served in Virginia, rather than giving him credit for time served. So the prosecutors have said, we don't know what we're going to do, but he should serve a consecutive sentence. What does that mean, actually? We don't know. Maybe it's a year extra. Maybe it's 20 years extra. Maybe they want him to do a life sentence on top of a life sentence. We don't know. We don't know. The prosecutors have said so. But remember, the neat thing about sentencing, the judge controls it. So he is stuck in Virginia, and this is not being addressed yet. And I just, once again, guys, this is interesting because it's something we're going to be dealing with for a long time. Something we're going to be dealing with for a long time. And it's interesting how this stuff doesn't go away. I think it's very interesting how this stuff doesn't go away. Kurt is saying when he's done with his life sentence in Virginia, that he could start serving in Maryland. Yeah, but I don't know. At what point is enough enough? Robert says there are a lot of mad families from them. I bet he would be hunted down if released. I'm not going to lie. Most of the people who live in the suburban DC area are probably pussies. I doubt they're going to hunt him down or know how to hunt someone down. Oh, Antoinette Kilpatrick says it's a Miller hearing, Miller versus Alabama. Thank you. I forgot the Supreme Court case. Erday says he could argue he was coerced. That is part of the argument he made Virginia, and they said we don't care. Yes, he was coerced. There was a lot of he'd known John Allen Muhammad since the age of 15 when they met down in Antigua. And yes, John Allen Muhammad sexually assaulted and abused Malvo, But at some point, when you're pulling the trigger on people in sniper attacks, you're kind of writing your own bus ticket at that point. So the feds have a job for him. I know. I'm sure the FBI went to him and said, "How would you assassinate a former president?" It's like the movie Shooter. He's the guy in the wheelchair. Oh. John Well Done says, don't the marshals handle interstate transfers? Sometimes, but in this situation, it would have been Maryland coming to get him. The marshals generally handle federal transfers. He basically terrorized the East Coast for months. It was horrific. Yeah, he was everywhere. It was insane. I remember what happened. It was crazy. It was crazy. Did one do driving and the other do the tourism? Well, they took turns. Malvo got married. I did hear about that. Buddha Belly says, can't they Zoom it? Well, Lee Boyd Malvo was refused to do that. It's a sentencing, and generally for sentencings, you have a right to be there in person. And I'm assuming under Maryland law, he has the right to demand that. So if he's made that demand, then no, he can't. He's the one who made it. They want to transfer him to North Korea. Bella said he should never get out. Sorry. Well, yeah, maybe. But he does have the right to get sentenced in Maryland, I think. And I think that's a little asinine. And part of the issue is there are times where you get released from one county to another county or one state to another state. They're like, haha, we've got him now. We'll give him back. And they're like, sorry, no, he's ours now. That does happen. Because they can say, sorry, he's serving a sentence here. We can't give him back. County by county. And here in Ohio, that's happened before where, hey, my client's over in the next county over. Will they release him? Fuck you, no. Even though the judge in the next county over is like, I need him for court. Please release him. The other judge is like, nope, we're keeping him. I want him to serve all my time. These things happen, chat. These things happen. So, but yes, for him, that would actually be helpful. He could get out and be part of, basically it'd be like a field trip for him to get to go outside and see the world. Buddha Belly says, how many did he actually kill? He killed 10 people in October. He was an accomplice. Driver or shooter, you're guilty for killing those people. So, yes, he did all of it. The in real life Suicide Squad. Yes. Malvo is lucky he was a minor. Virginia doesn't have parole for adults anymore. Well, if he was an adult in Virginia, they would have given him the death penalty because Virginia executed him. Virginia executed John Al Muhammad. They would have executed Malvo also. Meme Copium says, I hope Kurt gets parole. What? I don't get it. Yeah, I forget how they got caught. Andrew says, watch it. We are tough here. Okay. The victims seem really random, too. Yeah, they were just driving around shooting people. Very, very basic. Kurt says, have the Maryland judges drive down to the prison. I don't know if that would count because they're outside their state. I don't know if they've had the jurisdiction technically. Brent says, Sean, what's a black site? Ask your mother. She'll tell you when you're older. I said Kurt was serving a life sentence. I did? Well, Kurt's definitely not serving a life sentence. Kurt is out. Kurt is out on the streets. He's a free man. He's not on papers. All right, real quick. Popcorn Power says, oh no, Sean has multiple accounts. Sean knows anonymous. No, he's far smarter than I am. That's not me. SB Sellers gifted 20 subs. Thank you very much for the support. Cedar Rose gifted 1 membership. Thank you. Thank you very much for your support and your generosity. And Walter Deadman for $20. Oh, hold on one second. Walter Deadman for $20. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, by the way. Saying, you think after 20 years, New Jersey would change the color of its piss yellow license plates? Nope. Yeah, that's the other thing I noticed too. It's like they've had the same color, but yeah. Yes. Yeah, they specifically wanted to target random people, and that was part of the issue. Kind of, the FBI couldn't figure it out. Their, the behavior analysis people, the profilers, like, they had no fucking idea. They thought it was an angry white man. That's all they could come up with. So, all right, chat. So, like I said, life is moving along very interestingly there. And in addition to those things, people getting in, well, I think we can put this in the how not to commit a crime folder. If you're going to do it, remember, guys, if you're going to do it, you got to be really good at committing a crime. You've got to study your homework a lot here. This is out of Chicago. A man claimed the bullet flew into his home, killing his girlfriend. So it leaves an issue. So why was there a bullet and cartridge casing lying next to her? Yeah. So Ishmael Williams and Tamika Smith was found dead. And this one here is just, it's very funny. So the police think he murdered his girlfriend, called 911, claiming the bullet had come through his window. And the issue was the cops found a shell casing, a spent bullet. I think that means they found the projectile. And then they found a live cartridge of ammunition next to the woman inside, next to the body. So he got charged with first-degree murder this week. And this is it's very interesting. So around 4:30 in the morning, the cops showed up. And first he told the cops, hey, a white car fired the bullet, and it came through his open front door, not a window. As apparently he told the 911 operator the window. He initially could, his girlfriend complained of back pain before realizing she had sustained a gunshot. And then he said he put his finger into the wound to stop it from bleeding before she collapsed, and he called for help. Yes, that's the chat. That is not an effective way of stemming a bullet wound. Is just going boop. It doesn't work that way. You need to pack a wound. You need to pack a wound with gauze. Oh. But it gets better. It gets better. Well, now she's paralyzed. Well, no, now she's dead, so it's even worse. So the officers said they determined the bullet entered her upper left chest area and exited out her back. They also found a bullet, which I'm assuming they mean they found the projectile itself buried in something. A fired bullet, meaning, I think that means like the bullet itself. But they found a bullet. I think that means a live cartridge, like a bullet and casing together. Then an empty shell casing lying on the floor near her. And then the investigators didn't find any signs of bullet damage outside his home. Well, eventually, as it all fell apart, he admitted to shooting her. And then he says he pointed a gun at her and then shot her as she dared ask him to stop and say, please don't point a gun at me. Please don't point a gun at me. And he said, how dare you? How dare you tell me what to do? Boop. Oh. Oh, God, that is so funny. And then he just finally gives up. So, yes, he's stuck in jail pending trial because of his history of domestic violence, as well as previous convictions for battery on a police officer and robbery. Imagine that. Imagine that. He has a violent history like that. But, yeah. That's a very interesting. Remember, guys, if you're going to do this, you got to have a good story. You got to have a good story. Young says this is going to go to trial. We don't know. It literally just happened. It literally just happened. So maybe, maybe not. Maybe, maybe not. That does not seem like the most thought out story. No, it's not. It is not the most thought out story at all, chat. And real quick, because I just saw a quote chat down there below. Oh, he can never be an astronaut. Yes, very true. Very true. Very true. Oh. Unhung Hero says for $5, Kentucky Ballistics would disagree about sticking a finger in the wound. Yeah, his is a little different. But also, I bet if Kentucky Ballistics had access to, like, you know, like some like Celox, you know, some quick gauze like hemostatic agents, or, you know, an actual like blowout kit with him, like, you know, with proper equipment, you know, I'm betting he would have used that stuff if he had it available to him, but he didn't. He didn't have proper stuff with him. So I think that was part of the issue for him. Yes, he had to make do. EDW Raptor says the Dutch boy method is a medical procedure. Yeah. Like I said, get yourself some like real stuff, chat. Like, you know, like Celox, gauze, you know, all this fun stuff, you know, get all the good stuff you can fit into an IFAC, and, you know, good things like, you know, like Halo seals. All this stuff is good because, you know, guns put holes in people. And even when you go to the range, having stuff like this, very critical. And also, by the way, on the bottom, never afraid to have too many tourniquets because guns put holes in things. So even when you're playing with guns, some people might end up with holes in them. Stacy says, be prepared. Buy bleed and stop. Yes. Buy bleed kits and medical supplies so you can stop a bleed. Yes. Even if you don't have guns, guys, have like a tourniquet in your car. Like, really, I'm not going to lie, chat. If you had a tourniquet, like a soft T tourniquet, in this, a pack of Celox, like Z folding hemostatic gauze, you could probably do like 95% of anything you might find driving down. Like if you're driving down the road and come across a car accident, you could probably take care of like 95% of injuries with those two things. So never a bad idea to do it. You could do it for like $40, get those two things. And you can just put them in your glove box and forget about them for like 2-3 years and then buy new ones as time goes on. And yeah, it's an easy way to take care of people if you ever run into them. Oh, I have a couple of cats, not soft teas. You can do both. Either or. Either or. Do I have a Narcan too? No, I don't have Narcan. Nicholas Kreuzer says, I wear a tourniquet around my waist. If you mean your belt, that's not the best thing. Like, get a real tourniquet. Sadie Neal says, use a tampon. I mean, like, okay, like if you had nothing available to you, yes, a tampon would work, but spend $10 and buy this. This actually works. This will stop bleeding. This will help clot blood. This will keep someone from dying. There's a reason if tampons worked, paramedics would use them. They don't. I'm just saying, like, buy the proper equipment. Medical care and trauma care is the one place where just as good is not suitable. Buy the stuff is my recommendation. Just saying, chat. Just saying. So, yes, pitch lock is correct. Tampons in your belt should not be plan A for when something bad happens. Afton Forward says an Israeli bandage is what I carry. And Israeli bandages aren't bad options either. I don't have them in here, and I'm not opening this. Well, if I open this up, everything spills out, then I have to repack it. So, yes, Israeli bandages are good as well. So, but yes, that's, like I said, that was a very funny. I thought that was a humorous story about, oh, well, she's dead. It's like, well, why are all the weapons around you? Okay, so moving on, guys, to somebody who's in. People are trying to pursue some legal charges here. Dagmar says you should be packing it every 6 months. That's if you're in the military or you're getting paid, I could see that, but you can get away with like this bad boy. He sits inside a temperature controlled environment almost all the time. So no, I'd argue this stuff is safe for quite a while. I don't have the kind of money to replace that stuff every 6 months. Most people don't. That's a bit much. But if you could afford to do it, yeah, I guess. But it's got a very long shelf life overall. I mean, heck, even this stuff here. When does this go bad? Best if used by. You can't see the expiration date on this bad boy. Even then, if this is expired, this is still sealed. This is more than likely still good for probably over 10, 15 years. So I will demand to see the expiration date before you put a chest seal on me. Oh, I don't know. What is the expiration date on this bad boy? The lot number. What is the expiration? These don't have expiration date. It is due, though. It's a couple years old. It's 3 years old, so this probably does need to get replaced. I'll just keep these in the back. Joe Loy says sealed drugs and bandages don't know they expired. Well, they have dates of like best used by because they can't guarantee them forever. So that's why you see like best used by or an expiration date. Like just change it out because they can't guarantee it lasts forever. So the cop ordered the trauma kit at Denny's, yes. Legal advice, Jeff, how are you doing? Military grade sandwiches, Sean, yes. And yes, if you need a chest seal and ask about expiration dates, I think he was a bit of a joke. But you should rotate things out because this thing right here, I'm not going to open up. You can't open up to check it. So maybe something failed in one of the seal, like the packing. This stuff might be like dry as a bone in there and it won't work anymore. So I replace this every couple of years. And this is probably due to get replaced this fall. So, yeah. But anyways, Jeff, how you doing? Hope you're doing well, guys. Legal Advice says he's having his fucking Friday stream tomorrow night starting at 9 Eastern, and I will be there hanging out with him. It'll be a great time. All right, guys, moving on to non medical related stuff, guys. We're gonna keep moving. We're gonna keep moving here. Going back to the never-ending story of the Haitians down in Haiti, man. Well, no, not down in Haiti. Down in Springfield, Ohio, a Haitian nonprofit has filed a complaint for criminal charges against former President Trump and his vice presidential candidate, Senator J.D. Vance from the great state of Ohio, fellow Ohio man like myself. So they through a Haitian nonprofit organization called the Haitian Bridges Alliance, which I don't know how many bridges exist in Haiti after all the earthquakes, but they filed the charges in Clark County Municipal Court on Tuesday. The organization is based in San Diego and advocates for migrants and immigrants, especially those in the Black and Haitian communities. Well, if they're the Haitian Bridge Alliance, why aren't they like in South Florida or on the East Coast? Because that's like, I mean, you're like getting closer to Haiti. That would make kind of sense to me. But hey, who knows? Anyway, there are some things we can check chat. So, for example, the Clark County Municipal Court, and that is where Springfield is located. You can type in things through criminal, and we're going to try here. So, name defined, Trump. We're going to click search. There are no matches yet. So, charges have not been filed, and a case has not been opened. So, we know that right now. Now, what does this actually mean for us? Okay, so they did file a complaint. We're going to take a look at this. So this is actually, and it's funny because I did practice down this way. This is actually something SB Sellers says Ohio allows people from out of state to file criminal charges. We'll get to all this, okay? We'll get to all this. So nobody's been charged yet, but you can file complaints in Ohio as an individual citizen under state law. So, for example, and this is the way I'll explain it. If you did something, you keyed up my car, and the police decided not to investigate or file charges, I can go down to the clerk of courts for wherever I live. I can swear out a complaint and charge you with criminal damaging and damaging my property. At that point, then, it gets reviewed by a judge or by the prosecutor for that area, and they take a look at it and say, okay, yeah, there are charges. Okay, there aren't charges. But they can pursue charges that way. So none of it's set in stone. It's just being referred. And I'll explain to you why this is probably not going to go anywhere. But we're going to get to the actual complaint itself that got submitted. So this is the form. It's a kind of generic filing form they use down at the Clark County Municipal Court. Like I said, I've seen this before, so this is kind of like normal. Anyway, what you're seeing here is, and if you read the title, it tells you a lot. It says this is a bench memorandum in support of the attached revised code section 293509 A&D criminal charges of Guerlain Yosef and on behalf of the Haitian Bridge Alliance against Donald J. Trump and James David Vance. If you didn't know what J.D. Vance meant, there you go. I didn't know that's what it meant, which I thought was interesting because I didn't know. I thought it was just, what did J.D. mean? But, and if you see that, it says revised code section 2935.09. Well, what does that say? Well, and this is where under Ohio law, under the Ohio revised code, the persons who have knowledge of filing of offense that can file an affidavit. And there's an official review before a complaint is filed. So, and we get to part D here. A private citizen having knowledge of facts who seeks to cause an arrest or prosecution under this section may file an affidavit charging an offense committed with a reviewing official for the purpose of review to determine if a complaint should be filed by the prosecuting attorney or the attorney charged with by law the prosecution offenses in that court before a magistrate. And you may file the affidavit with the clerk of court of record before or after the normal business hours of the reviewing officials. And they just talk about how it works and how they go forward. So under Ohio law, other people who can do it, a police officer can seek out prosecution and file with the reviewing official. But they're allowed to do it. But this is one of the reasons why you're allowed to. We're going to get to the crimes, guys, of what's being charged here. So just so you know, that's the enabling statute here in that regard. So Guerlain Yosef, on behalf of the Haitian Bridge Alliance, respectfully offers this bench memorandum in support of the attached affidavit, which is properly submitted under the plain language of the statute to a judge for review and not the prosecutor's office. And they could send this to the judge to review, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. And they're seeking to charge Trump and J.D. Vance with the following offenses: disrupting public services, making false alarms, complicity. And complicity means that if one of them said it, the other one's guilty because they're helping them. They're both working together. Telecommunications harassment, aggravated menacing. Aggravated menacing, chat, is what we would call in many states assault. It's making threats. In Ohio, making threats is called menacing, and actually the actual crime of physically causing harm to somebody in Ohio is called assault. So that's why you might hear them that way, and that's why they're labeled that way. Well, Maddie, we'll get to what the threats are. Um, they also are charging them with, and SEO is the Springfield City Ordinances, Section 537.08, which is telecommunications harassment, and Springfield City Ordinance complicity. The Alliance and Ms. Joseph respectfully requests this court make independent findings of cause and issue warrants for Trump and Vance's arrest. Now, this is a municipal court, so even if this were to happen, and it's not, even if it were to happen, this is only valid for a statewide warrant. So they talk about, yes, private citizens are authorized to file charges, and they either issue warrants or refer the matter to the prosecuting attorney for investigation. So they have private citizens who can do it, and they're pointing out there's only two options. Issue an arrest warrant or refer the matter to the prosecuting attorney. Now, here's the problem with this. They're not in that district. So this appellate district is not the holding district. Clark County is in the second appellate district. So if they had something there, they would. This is persuasive, but not binding authority. So they point out investigation is neither needed nor requested. That's always a warning flag. No, you don't need to look into this any further, man. We've got all the facts. Do you really? Do you really? Despite the facts being presented in the affidavit being open and notorious for the world to see, the prosecuting attorney has not yet acted to protect the community and hold Trump and Vance accountable for the harm they have instigated. Probably because it's not a crime. And punishing politicians on the campaign trail sounds really freaking bad. I get it if you're from Haiti where you don't really have laws and you can kind of do whatever you want. But here in America, that's not something we condone. So they're requesting this court find probable cause and arrest Trump and Vance. The probable cause having already been determined by this court, the prosecuting attorney then must make a public decision about whether that office stands for the rule of law or whether it will further coddle Trump and Vance with complete inaction. The probable cause is low threshold, and the affidavit charging Trump and Vance meet it. Yeah, I don't know about that. Oh. So these affidavits are governed under Criminal Rule 4, and there's other things out there, which an independent determination of probable cause by a judge, magistrate, clerk of court, or officer of this court designated by a judge. Yes. Once again, they're not citing something out of the second district, which you really should do. You should always cite. You should always be looking, guys. This is something when you're doing things. You should always cite from like the appellate district you're in, the federal circuit you're in, as many places you can that hold things over you. Do it, because then you could say, "Look, it's binding, judge. You have to follow it." So, for example, this Fifth Circuit case done in 2003. I'm sure the second appellate district has cited this case somewhere. You could have used that case instead. So the effect is, while the court can issue an arrest warrant based on the affidavit, it cannot reject the complaint without affording the complainant a hearing for the court to independently determine probable cause, even when the prosecutor disagrees. Yes. Criminal Rule 4 contains a lesser hearsay standard, which allows for finding a probable cause based on hearsay evidence in whole or in part. As we talked about with Nick Rekieta's situation, yes, complaints and affidavits for search warrants can contain hearsay. They can contain evidence that later on becomes inadmissible. So hearsay, you probably won't be able to bring it in, but they can use it there. We'll get to some of these guys. So they say the evidence included video recorded admissions or written statements, threats, or actions by Trump and Vance themselves, along with governance statements by Governor Mike DeWine, Springfield Mayor Robert Routh, and others about the falsehood of Trump's and Vance's statements. To a limited extent, there is any hearsay. It is from reliable or reputable sources. The facts are essentially indisputable. When you make these claims, that's usually a bullshit claim for, well, they are in dispute. Your Honor, there's no question. There is question. There is no doubt. There is doubt. Now the thing is, where is the? And I hope we get to this here because we'll get to this in a second. The Bridge Alliance asks court to find probable cause the criminal charges are warranted for the statutes because of the harmful lies repeatedly spewed by Trump and J.D. Vance. Probable cause exists when the circumstances which are reasonably trustworthy and sufficient to warrant a prudent individual in believing another had committed or was committing an offense. Huh. It's like we're also going over the whole Rekieta warrant. Now, see, they did cite a second district case, second State v. Cavalier, which I remember. I've stated that before. It's not a high bar. Correct. Probable cause is lower threshold and by preponderance of the evidence. Remember, preponderance of the evidence is 51%. Probable cause is the belief, is a reasonable belief, which is less stringent than proving whether something is more likely true than not. And of course, probable cause is a far less standard than beyond a reasonable doubt, the standard required for convictions. Now they talk about all this and how they keep going. Trump, and here's where we get to the scary parts. Trump and Vance have knowingly spread a false and dangerous narrative by claiming that Springfield's Haitian community is criminally killing and eating neighbors' dogs and cats, and killing and eating geese. They accuse Springfield's Haitians of bearing a deadly disease. They repeated such lies during the debate, at rallies and interviews on national television and social media. The direct impact on Springfield and Vance's unwilling lies cannot be overstated. During the last 2 weeks, Springfield received 33 bomb threats. Did they do them? Did Trump and Vance do those? Who did them? Many public institutions have been forced to evacuate and vital local resources were diverted to investigate the barrage of threats to the community. Okay. So they want to charge Trump and Vance because why? They disrupted public services by causing widespread bomb and other threats. How? They made false alarms by knowingly causing alarm in the Springfield community by continuing to repeat lies that state and local officials have said were false. They committed telecommunications harassment by spreading claims they know to be false during the debate. They committed aggravated menacing by knowingly making intimidating statements with the intent to abuse, threaten, or harass the recipients. Yeah, I don't think that counts as aggravated menacing there. And also, the other part here, and this is that's still they say aggravated menacing, that's still telecommunications harassment. 2917.21 is telecom harassment. They miscited thing there. They committed aggravated menacing, and this is the correct part of aggravated menacing, by knowingly causing others to falsely believe that members of the Haitian community will cause serious physical harm to the person or property of others within the Springfield community. Yeah, hold on here, because I don't think that's... I don't think that works. So that so here is... We'll get to the affidavits. It's easier to read the affidavits. They violated the complicity statute by conspiring with another to spread the lies. Like those who falsely shout fire in a crowded theater. That is not valid case law. That has not been valid case law for over 100 years. The holding from US v. Schenck is no longer valid. Quit citing this. Please. Please. Jesus Christ. This is written by attorneys and they fucking use this. Trump and Vance do not color within the lines of the First Amendment. They commit criminal acts. This is a fucking crime, right? It should be a crime to fucking use this quote. Now, they come up with the 2014 killing of Tamir Rice by the Cleveland Police Department. There was probable cause to support criminal charges in Reed affidavits relating to Timothy Lohman and Frank Garnback. A copy of the court's order is there, but they didn't say what happened with it. So they argue criminal charges should be done. They asked this court to treat Trump and Vance the same way anyone else would be treated for the crimes committed. These aren't crimes, though. This should be done before Trump fulfills his threat to visit Springfield, despite Mayor Rob Rowe's request he not do so that he may be arrested on arrival for his criminal acts. And here's the problem. These are fucking attorneys. And they're attorneys in Ohio licensed attorneys. So, anyways, this is the affidavit of one of the people. Gerline Yosef. This is a person who's stating that in affidavit, I'm a private citizen of the age of 18. I have personal knowledge of and am competent to testify regarding the matters below. I am the director of the Haitian Bridge Alliance, a national nonprofit community. We serve migrants and immigrants with humanitarian, legal, and social services with a focus on Black people, the Haitian community, women, girls, LGBT blah, 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 individuals, and survivors of torture and other human rights abuses. Basically everybody but white men. Like, how many other people can you focus on? Well, we focus on everybody. Well, we only focus on Haitians. Well, also other Black people. Well, also women. Any kind of women. Girls. LGBT individuals. And survivors of torture and other human rights abuses. Well, who don't you represent at that point? We focus on the issues unique to Black migrants and build solidarity and collective movement toward policy change. We collaborate with Black migrant communities throughout the U.S., progressive coalitions fighting anti-Blackness, and advocate locally, nationally, internationally for fair and just immigration policies. Okay. They launched a pilot project in 2024 that connected recent Haitian immigrants to labor union apprenticeship programs in Ohio. We provide language, social, and technical support to apprenticeship programs so they can successfully complete the programs. Our staff built and maintained strong relationships with the graduates and continue to support them as they're placed in jobs. Several we supported relocated to live and work in Springfield and are legally employed there. Since Trump and Vance's false and malevolent comments against Haitians started, our staff maintained close contact with the Haitian workers and helped them navigate the resulting backlash. Well, what was the backlash? So the purpose of this affidavit. Okay, well, what's the purpose? This affidavit this affidavit seeks to charge Trump and Vance under Revised Code Section 2935.09D. We seek their arrest and prosecution and ask that a reviewing official, particularly a judge, review to determine if a claim should be filed by the prosecuting attorney or attorney charged with the prosecution of offenses in the court. Now, they bring that prosecuting attorney or other attorney because at the municipal level, there is no city prosecutor that's an elected official. Generally, you are the law director for that city. You get hired by the city, or some cities, smaller towns, will farm that out to a law firm that handles governmental law as part of its practice area. And they have a guy who comes in and is generally, they're referred to as like city solicitors, and they handle like traffic and criminal cases in municipal courts. So over the last 2 weeks, Trump and Vance have led an effort to vilify and threaten the Haitian community. Together, they spread and amplified the debunked claim that Haitian immigrants to Springfield are eating dog, cats, and wildlife. We do not have to guess at the motivation behind these actions. Vance has publicly admitted that he and Trump have to create stories for media attention. It'd be nice if you cited something, because that doesn't mean anything right now. Okay, we don't have to guess. Citation needed. And here's the neat part. You claim to have it. Where is the citation? Where is the citation? My good boy, JD. My good boy, James David. He done nothing wrong. He just a good boy who done nothing wrong. He a good boy. Where's the citation? 33 bomb threats across Springfield within the last 2 weeks. Okay, who did that? And then other government offices. Well, that's kind of based. Springfield government officials and their families received threats. Citations needed. Citations needed. Trump's advanced lies have harmed the community, and their lies have violated criminal law. All the Haitian immigrants and community members to whom we have spoken to have told us that before Trump advanced his comments, they found people in Springfield to be welcoming, nice, and helpful. But since the comments earlier this month, Haitians are receiving hostile comments and feel like they're constantly being watched by people at work and in the neighborhoods. Why aren't those people filing the affidavits? Why aren't those people filing the affidavits? Why aren't they filing the affidavits? Huh? Isn't it funny? Some guy from California is filing the affidavit. Now I get it. Yes, you can use that. You can use hearsay, but at some point, who are these people? You're going to have to prove that. You're going to have to produce that evidence. Yeah. Just saying. One Haitian man said that on or around September 12th, while he was walking in downtown Springfield, a white man driving by in a car yelled at him, "Trump is coming for you." He was frightened and didn't know if the driver yelling at him was armed or would attack him. I'm sure the whole bus clapped right afterwards, too. How did that white guy know? Because believe it or not, there were already black people who lived in Springfield, Ohio. How did he know that black guy was Haitian? Yeah, this is MAGA country, they screamed. Several of the Haitian workers we support have complained that their colleagues at work repeatedly asked them whether they are cat eaters. I'm totally sure that happened. They feel uncomfortable and unsafe at work because with their language difficulties and not being fully fluent in English, they cannot judge how their colleagues feel. Really quick, though. Hold on here. With their language difficulties and not yet being fully fluent in English, then how do they know what they're being asked if they aren't fully fluent in English? If you don't know the language, how do you know what you're being asked? Especially if it's not work-related. How the hell do you know what they're asking if you don't know it? How do you know that? That's a great answer here. Well, they don't know the language really well. Then how the fuck do they know what they're being asked? Anyways, whatever. They cannot judge how their colleagues feel about them and whether they're at risk of being fired or physically harmed. I'm assuming if they aren't being harmed, then they probably aren't being harmed. Many of the people we've spoken to left Haiti because they suffered politically motivated violence and persecution, and they've reported feeling scared for their physical safety all the time because of Trump advance's comments. They're terrified if Trump advance win the elections, they'll harass even more and become victims of violence. Okay. Some have reported feeling so scared they do not feel like going to work because they don't know what could happen to them at work on their way to work. Others said they don't want to be out at night for fear of what could happen to them. They do not want to talk to people as they would have, like asking for directions on the street, because they don't know whom they could trust or who may want to harm them. We have learned the stress and unpredictability is so high, Haitians are quitting their jobs and leaving Ohio for good. Well, where the fuck are they going? Summary of their legal violations. Okay, well, we'll get to this here. So Trump advance are major public figures who words have tremendous power. Okay. And they know that spreading these lies, they are also causing innocent parties across the media and state to perpetuate the false claims under complicity and under the Springfield Codified Ordinances of Complicity. The allegations have led to massive disruptions of services in violation of Revised Code Section 2909.04. And we'll look at that. So what does 2909.04 say? Because well, that's why that didn't work. So, yeah, here you go. No person purposely by any means shall do any of the following. By damaging, tampering, and property shall do any of the following. Interrupt or impair television, radio, telephone, or other mass communication services. Including any radars, LORAN radio, or other electronic aids for the police, fire, air, or marine navigation, or amateur radio bands, being used for public service or community emergency communications. Okay, well, how has Trump done that? How have they done that? So I don't understand how they did this. Have they interrupted or repaired public transportation, school bus transportation, water supply, gas, power, or other utilities of public service? Nope. Have they done any of this so far? No. It doesn't relate to physical damage or tampering. So, for example, like with one of these bad boys, if you have Baofeng, depending on if your Baofeng's unrestricted or restricted, you could communicate on, municipal bands. If you don't like, for example, if your police don't have a encrypted radios, depending on how your Baofeng was set up, you can communicate on those bands. It's not precluded. Like this can go broadcast on NOAA frequencies, and merely just going on and clicking this transmit button right there. If I went on the ham frequency, and that's what they mean by I can go on the ham frequencies or citizen band frequencies and communicate. And I can just go on there and go la 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 la, or I can just hold the button down and jam the frequency. You're not allowed to do that. That's tampering as well. Substantially impair the ability of law enforcement officers, firefighters, rescue personnel, or emergency personnel to respond to emergency or protect and preserve any person from serious physical harm. This is generally the part of when you're making bomb threats. This is what you get done because you're impairing their ability to help people, really. No person shall use any computer system or computer network or device so as to disrupt, erupt, and impair the functions of police, fire, educational, commercial, or governmental operations. So you can't use computers to hack in and fuck with people. And it's a felony of the 4th degree, meaning they face up to 6 to 18 months of prison. So, yes, so where have they done that? How have Trump and Vance done that? They haven't. They haven't done that. As a Springfield, and we're going to get back to this here, guys. As the Springfield community has experienced widespread bomb threats, schools have been evacuated and closed. Hospitals have been locked down. Since Trump and Vance began the campaign of lies, public services have been investigated to divert these threats. And the community has been left in distress and disarray. Okay. Explain to me the legal theory behind this. Displaying the theory. You're going to have to articulate that. Despite the multiple state offenses, there is no truth to their claims. Trump and Vance continue to spread lies about the abduction and consuming of family pets and their claims that legal migrants are illegal and spreading disease to cause alarm in the Springfield community. And it's about making false alarms. Well, that one's not going to work either. It just doesn't work, chat. It just doesn't work. Yes, this is absolutely moronic. This is absolutely moronic. They say by repeating the claims they know to be false on their social media, they have engaged in telecommunications harassment, which this is not telecommunications harassment, really. This is not just this. It's not. It's not telecom harassment. And it's it just, here's telecommunications harassment. This doesn't work at all with telecommunications harassments. Nobody using the permit of telecommunication to be made if the caller does any of the following. Notice if the caller does any of the following. Caller. So you can just read through this, and there is no. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't. It just doesn't work. So Ohioans have been harmed by Trump and Vance's hate and fear mongering. Trump and Vance may act like they're above the law, but they are not. Oh, wow, we're using the same. They're above the law. There's no official capacity, is not protected, but is protected by no immunity. I think you could probably word that better, that they are not operating in an official capacity and therefore are not entitled to any immunity that may be awarded or may exist at any level of law. So, yes, they talk about the facts. Springfield has a population of 60,000 residents with about 15,000 Haitians working there on top of it. So, in early 2024, the far-right social media platform Gab, it's really far right. Gab has a lot of censorship policy, surprisingly. The comment stated that once Haitians swarm into a town, animals start to disappear. This is left under a photo of the neo-Nazi group, the Blood Tribe, which is marching through Springfield protesting Haitian immigrants and waving swastika flags. You guys remember the Blood Tribe dudes? They're fucking glowies. Yes, I'm surprised we haven't seen the words threat to democracy. Anyway, on September 6th, End Wokeness posted a screenshot alleging Haitians were in Springfield, Ohio, eating a cat. Now, guys, remember the whole cat being eaten thing? That was given to... this was apparently in Columbus. This guy carrying the goose down the street. Doesn't still make any goddamn sense why he's carrying geese. And if you're a white guy carrying geese down the street, the game warden would ticket you. Just saying. So anyway, there's a bunch of issues here. Charlie Kirk is involved. Elon Musk says stuff. Charlie Kirk's like, oh, they're, mass immigration replacement plan. Well, that's not untrue. And there's multiple screenshots here. They go through all of these. Oh my God, it's so horrible. I will point out that the lady who was eating the cat was in a city on the other side of the state that was like over 2 hours away from Haiti, from Springfield. And she wasn't a Haitian. She was a lady living in the projects in Section 8 housing who ate a cat. So don't worry about it. And he says that, and they're just going through all of this here. Vance says, my office received many inquiries from actual residents who said their neighbors or pets were abducted by Haitian immigrants. It's possible, who knows? And the local health service has been overwhelmed. Have communicable diseases like tuberculosis and HIV been on the rise? Rents have risen so fast that Springfield families can't put a roof over their head. Notice, you notice how they're talking about, oh, it's about the dogs and the cats. They aren't talking about the schools being overwhelmed because the kids don't know English. They don't talk about the fact that 15,000 people thrown in the town and made renting almost impossible. Notice they aren't talking about that. Notice they're not talking about that, chat, in the complaint. It's just about the cats and the dogs. Well, there we go. I mean, that's but yes. I love these memes anyway. The cat with a gun and Trump. Trump's going to protect the cats and the geese, chat. Donnie's going to protect them all. He's got room for all of them on Trump Force One. He's going to save them all, chat. He's protecting everybody. So they go through all of this. They go through all the facts, blah, 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 blah. This is not really how you'd ever do a complaint. This is absolute fucking nonsense. Trump and Vance have violated Ohio and Springfield criminal law. Okay. So blah, 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 blah. Just this is, this is, they're accused of violating, making false alarms when they initiate or circulate a report or warning of alleged impending fire, explosion, crime, or other catastrophe, knowing the report or warning is false and likely to cause public inconvenience or alarm. Well, has it caused public inconvenience? The police looked into it. Okay. Yeah, I don't think that's really going to get you anywhere. I read through this earlier, and a bunch of this is kind of garbage. Before Trump's September 12th rally, Springfield City Hall was evacuated because there was bombs around the building. Okay, well, did Trump and his people do it? I don't understand how you think you can blame him for that. I really don't. But anyways, we get through all of this. And yeah, I love, if you've gone to all this work, if including all these comments, where are all the other people? Because eventually you're going to have to provide those names of these people. All these things you've heard, all these things that happened. Well, when did they happen? Where did they happen? Who? Yeah, Trump might have called the bomb threat in himself. Just absolute fucking nonsense. It's bullshit. Absolute fucking nonsense. Absolute nonsense, chat. Yes. Yerlin Yosef, the co-founder and executive director of the Haitian Bridge Alliance. And notice, he didn't even fucking sign this in Ohio. He did this from California, which this is such bullshit. You won't even fucking hop on an airplane, fly to Ohio, waddle your ass down to the Clark County courthouse, go into municipal court, and fucking sign that affidavit and swear it out in Ohio yourself. Bullshit. Like, you're telling me you won't even fucking come here to do it. Dark Lotus says none of these statements survive hearsay objections. They don't have to at this point. I'm just pointing out it's all bullshit. Yeah, they did it for the art. They did it for the culture. But that is such bullshit that he won't come down there and fucking do it. Absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. Jabba Dunn says the municipal courthouse is kind of white trash. Trust me, trust me. I could show you some courthouses here in Ohio that are, oof. That one's not the Clark County Municipal Court is not that bad. Trust me, there's worse. But I mean, really, you couldn't even get this sign in fucking Ohio. Pussy. And they talk about this stuff here, this case out of Cleveland, and they talk about what happened there. Okay. Sure, but then what happened? Okay, so yeah, and then what happened? But anyways, this is just absolute garbage. It's absolute garbage. They didn't even fucking do it. Absolute fucking garbage. So we'll see what happens, chat. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. John Doe says it doesn't matter if he goes there. Trials happen online now. And remember April's hearing online? April was in the state of Minnesota, so she wasn't allowed to leave the state of Minnesota. But the fact this guy won't even show up here in Ohio to file it just shows you how bullshit it is. A guy in another state files this affidavit. This is just, it's fucking horseshit. It's all horseshit. You can smell it. Just saying. Just saying, chat. T-Money, all that is man, says, run, Clyde, the Haitians are coming. Clyde is safe, I promise you. Clyde, we are 3 hours away from Springfield, Ohio. We are more than safe. I'm Dave says Texas needs to build a wall around Ohio. Yeah. So. SB Silla says Ohio allows people from out of state to file criminal charges. Well, I mean, if you have knowledge of a crime being committed, you do have the right to file charges. I just think it's bullshit. This guy, it's not like he came to Ohio, saw it happen, and then leave and then filed it. He's been hiding out in California the whole time. So, yeah. Petty Letter says, what is wrong with Ohio? I mean, we allow citizens should have the right to seek redress. It shouldn't just be through the government. So, Let's Go Brandon's been a mayor for 11 months. Says, can we resurrect Rick James? Oh, that'd be so good if we could. Bahrain says Rekieta vindicated again. Yes. And Baldwin says, wait, they're telling a judge what they can and cannot do. Sometimes you will put that into motion saying, judge, you have to do this. It's not always the best move, but sometimes it works. Ag says for 199, stop citing stupid words, bro. Natasha says for $2, hold up, are all those women attorneys? Enough said. I don't know because I haven't really interacted with the Chandra Law Group, but I assume a bunch of them are. John Doe says Trump supporters are disrupting daily life by threatening bomb threats. Okay, we'll charge them. Did Trump tell them to go do it? No. At what point is he responsible for the actions of a third party? You know, that's the issue here, John. It's not his fault. Take the case, bring Clyde to court. Yeah, I'll bring Clyde in as a reporter. Jerex, this is 100% political. Oh, I agree. I agree it's 100% political. Yes, are there watermarks again? Yeah, I don't know. Oh. Has Clyde started a neighborhood paw watch in Ohio? No. MLS making a lot simple. David, how are you doing? I like the rebranding again, back to the old ways. Says Trump is always responsible for the actions of everyone. Don't you know that? Yeah. John Doe says when he says to stand back and stand by. Well, he asked them. They said, "Would you tell the Proud Boys to go back off?" He's like, "Okay, fine. I'm not in charge of them, but fine. Proud Boys, stay away." There you go. Did you not? So you don't. So by him doing what people wanted him to do, it's saying condemn them, tell them to stop. He's like, I don't have power over them. Now it's helping. Yes, Trump won't Lego my ego. Oh. Trump should have pardoned all the January 6 people. He should have, but he didn't because he was a pussy. Oh, it's just ridiculous. All right, guys, moving on from there. We got a couple more things we got to get done here, chat. We got to, God, it's 2.5 hours. We got to fucking roll. So, guys, remember FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried? Well, his beautiful lover, Caroline Ellison, if you guys remember her, this is her right there with that face. Ellison was Sam Bankman-Fried's right-hand man. She was sentenced to 2 years in prison. And she was actually very much very critical in Sam Bankman-Fried's conviction. She was sentenced to 2 years in prison after the judge praised her remarkable and damning testimony against her ex-lover at trial. She held back her tears and bowed her head. I mean, she made $1 billion. What do you expect to happen at some point? Yes, part of the greatest financial fraud ever perpetrated in this country and probably anywhere else. Well, I don't know about that. I'm sure there are a lot bigger financial frauds out there. I'm just saying. Oh, Hodor is saying you got to stream until Nick streams again. I'll drink his milkshake. Yes, as a fat guy, I will drink your milkshake. I drink it up. Yes, is she the elf from Harry Potter? I don't know. Is she the elf from Harry Potter? No. So anyway, Kaplan said he would not grant her a get out of jail free card despite her genuine remorse for a role in the brazen crime, which they stole billions of dollars. And guys, if you remember, they used the FTX funds to fill in the holes at Alameda Capital that they were using. And just billions of dollars. They were using QuickBooks and Excel spreadsheets, and that's how they kept track of everything. And then all of a sudden, poof, $11 billion just disappeared. The judge said she was vulnerable and was exploited by calling SBF your kryptonite. Come on, at some point, she knew what she was doing. I mean, next, this judge sounds like he would buy the cover bullshit. He was part of the cover. So as a judge delivered her sentence. Now, this is very common. She's ordered to report to prison on November 7th. As long as you're not a violent person and already in custody, you generally get a report date. So that's not uncommon at all. It's just like when you watch Goodfellas. You know, he gets out of the car. You know, they get sentenced to prison. Then he says he hops in the car, just take me to prison. That happens all the time. Many people, you know, like Owen Schroyer, other people like that ended up getting report dates. Her job is she's been assigned to a prison. She'll show up at that federal prison on November 7th by like such and such time, and she shows up at the front door and they take her in. So she's got a little while. So yeah, there she is. She's like, "Oh, I'm so sad. Oh no. I'm so sad I funneled money for Washington, D.C. I'm so sad." She thought she fought through tears while giving a brief statement. She said, "I'm so sorry. I'm deeply ashamed of what I've done." I mean, is she really? Is she really? And here's Caroline Ellison. Anyways, if there's a video of her leaving, I don't know if it'll show up here. We can watch it real quick. Yeah, so she's got a 2-year sentence. And she's like, oh boy. Doesn't look too sad. I mean, she had to have known she was going to prison, but yeah. That's how it works, chat. You get to walk out, you get to leave. Not uncommon. Not uncommon. Not abnormal. The sketch artist did no favors to her face. Well, yeah. So, yeah, and I'm sure a lot of that money is still out there. It's never been fully hidden or caught. So I'm sure she's gonna get that money still exists, man. Like it's never gone away. We all know it's out there. Like, let's be real. We all know it. That's the embarrassing thing here. That's the embarrassing part of this. So I don't know why. It's not like she's, like she really loses. She's going to have money after that. How much money she get to keep? Well, she's supposed to forfeit like billions of dollars. But let's be real. Do you think the feds accounted for all that money? I'm sure she had money stashed away somewhere. She'll be able to work on as she gets going. Yeah. What money? Yeah. I think people like this don't have money. She's going to have money. She's going to have money. So she'll be fine. She'll be fine after this is all over. So she put all her money in the Doge coins. No. Yeah, she's going to be fine, chat. She's going to be fine. Nothing's going to happen to her. Nothing, like she's totally fine. Totally fine. Now moving on to other people, and this is just also kind of tied to, well, it's because the New York Post is citing it. We're going to cover this right now. This is very funny because this involves the guy who tried to assassinate former President Trump. Ryan Routh, his son, got arrested for having cheese pizza on his having cheese pizza when the feds came knocking, which I guess here's something you need to think about. If you have a family member who commits a crime, you should be prepared. The feds are going to come knocking. I think that's a very fair argument. That if you're one of, like, if you have a brother or your parent, like you wake up in the morning, you find like, oh my God, my dad tried to kill the president. You should make sure your history's clean, because that's not a good look. It's not going to look well. Well, anyway, Ryan Routh's son was arrested on. They found a lot of cheese pizza after the feds found hundreds of sick images. Guess what? The feds are going to search your stuff too. And they found the cheese pizza on his phone following his dad's arrest. So he got charged with receiving and receiving cheese pizza. As Ralph said, what about the child porn? when they searched his Greensboro home in connection to a separate investigation, the investigation into his dad, according to a criminal complaint, they're going to get a warrant for your stuff too. And yes, there's the son of the shooter. Oh yeah, he doesn't look like an MK Ultra person either, huh? Yeah, there you go. So, oh yeah, so. Ryan Routh sent a letter to his friends acknowledging that he tried to kill Trump over his views on the Ukraine war, and according to federal prosecutors. And that letter was seen out there. It does exist. He penned it, months before the arrest, saying Trump is a bad man. And this is what he sent out. This is him saying, like, "Dear world, this assassination attempt on Trump, but I'm so sorry I failed you. I tried, but again, I gave it all the gumption I could muster." This just seems so garbage, really. Just going on and on about how not liking Trump. This is actually pictures that have been released from him being arrested. Yeah, it looks like a rock star, doesn't he? So anyway, getting back to what his son did, and this is just you can't you got to be careful. You got to be careful, chat. So the Fed searched his second floor rental unit. They found electronic devices, including Galaxy Note 9, and they contained hundreds of child porn files and court papers. It's like, oh my God, dude. The video showed kids as young being abused. There was also child porn on another Galaxy Note 9 that he had on him. The phone had a messaging app often used for distributing cheese pizza. So, yeah. Yeah. So, got to be careful out there, chat. Got to be careful. Got to be careful. Yeah, just it's weird, and it's kind of funny and weird how that happens. So, just don't know what to say. Don't know what to say. Yes, this is the same dumb fuck who said his dad would never try to kill Trump. Yes, but then he said his dad was a martyr. Iman Reza says, did he ask the feds if they ever watched Kino Casino? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no, that's not good. Yes, and that app that they were trading cheese pizza on was Facebook, which has done a lot of cheese pizza trading. Yeah. Yes, Shinobu Suzuka says, when the feds try to plant CP on your computer, but your computer has a larger CP collection, or the feds are they're hacking into your computer and they click copy and they drag over it. It says, do you wish to replace all these files? And they're like, damn. When you already have the files they're using. That would be really bad. That would be really bad. That's a shame for $9.99. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Says Sean is not qualified to identify house elves. That could easily be Winky. Is that a Harry Potter reference? Because I don't get it. Yes, 9.99.99 gigabytes of 1 terabyte are full. Yes, Z Michael is like, wait, is this our asset? No, we messed up. Joe Schmo over on Rumble does bring up a good point. Ryan Routh has very good handwriting that he can keep it in such straight lines on unruled paper, which I agree. That is an impressive feat because I've tried to use computer paper before to write a letter, and you start writing, you're like, dear so-and-so, it just goes like a nosedive, so you can't do it. When you look at your hard drive, it says proper to the FBI. Jeez. Hold on, chat. Hodor says the cheaters use a paper line underneath. Yeah, line paper underneath. Yeah. Chad Canuck says cheese pizza, lol. Remember, Chad, if you're ever on the internet and somebody starts talking to you about cheese pizza, they're not talking about pizza, probably. Don't engage them. So, oh, all right, and this is we're gonna end this tonight on the big issue here, kind of the biggest thing I think that's happened in the most day. Eric Adams, the the current mayor of New York City, has been federally indicted and took bribes. Now, some of you might say, wait, he's the first mayor of New York to ever be indicted? Yes, and that says a lot about New York, that it took him to be indicted. So he became the first New York City mayor in modern history to be indicted on Thursday. He's accused of improper benefits, illegal campaign contributions, fraudulent matching funds claims, concealment of travel benefits, and corrupt favors to foreign benefactors, according to the indictment. So what happened there? Well, this is just the basics looks of it. Also, real quick, chat, who is that guy? Who is this guy right here, huh? That's one of his attorneys. I wonder who that is. That's Alex Spiro. That's Alec Baldwin's attorney. There you go. This guy's got Eric Adams has some heavy hitters, man. He's got some heavy hitters in his corner. Just saying, that's pretty impressive. I hope you guys realize that. So, I hope you realize that. That is impressive. Yeah, here you go. I mean, if you want to hear him, we'll turn him on so we can hear him.
That's what's actually in the indictment. No $10 million.
It was at 6 a.m. FBI agents
Here we go.
To enrich himself and his mayor.
draw donors to get foreign donations into his campaign, and they say those illegal donations generated up to over much smaller numbers.
That's what's actually in the indictment. No $10 million.
Yeah, anyways, there you go. Alex Spiro's there. You can hear his voice. Now, what's the actual indictment say? Well, funny you should ask. Well, this gets very interesting. So this is a sealed indictment out of the Southern District of New York, the SDNY. They got their fingers in everything, chat. And they went after the mayor of New York City. So beginning in 2014, and this is when it all starts. This is how you know it's bad, is when they start the timeline this far back. This far back here. So in 2014, Eric Adams became the president of the borough of Brooklyn. Now, if you guys don't understand that, remember, each of the 5 boroughs in New York City are basically separate counties. They're all part of New York City government, but that government is a multi-county government. So like Brooklyn is its own borough. It's basically its own county, more or less. They have their own district attorney's office. They have their own everything. They also have New York City services, though. So, Manhattan, Alvin Bragg is the district attorney for Manhattan, which Manhattan is not Manhattan County. It's New York County. I understand that's a little weird. But anyways, like Yonkers, Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Staten Island, they all have their own governments like that. So he was the president of Brooklyn Borough. And they said for nearly a decade, Adams sought and accepted improper value benefits, such as international travel, including from wealthy foreign business people, and at least one Turkish government official seeking to gain influence over him. Now, chat, you remember we've talked about that before. When government officials and foreign entities are trying to seek that over you, what do we call that? That's called a FARA violation. Remember, FARA. And then by 2018, Adam made his known plans to run for his mayor in New York City. And not only there, but he accepted, well, that was too bright. He not only accepted, but sought illegal campaign contributions to his 2021 mayoral campaign, as well as other things of value from foreign nationals. Oh, boy. You can see where this is going really quick. You can see where this is going really quick here. So his foreign nation benefactors sought to cash in on the corrupt relationships with him when it became clear that he had become the mayor. Adams agreed, providing favorable treatment in exchange for the benefits he received. After his inauguration, Adams soon began preparing for his next election by planning to solicit more legal contributions and granting requests from those who support his 2021 campaign. So, he sought a bunch of campaign contributions. People would smuggle them through U.S.-based straw donors. The overseas contributors defeated federal laws that served to prevent foreign influence on U.S. elections. Wealthy individuals evaded laws designed to limit their power by restricting the amount of money any one person could donate. And businesses circumvented New York City's ban on corporate contributions by funneling their donations through their employees. Yep. Adams increased his funding by accepting these illegal donations, allowing his patrons the undue influence over him the law tries to prevent. So he did this routinely. As a result of those false certifications, the campaign received more than $10 million in public funds. And why is that important here? Okay, well, New York City has a matching funds program that matches small dollar contributions from city residents up to 8 times their amount in public funds to give New Yorkers a greater voice in elections. So if you donate $100, you can get your candidate receives $800 in funding. So his campaign applied for matching funds based on these bullshit donations, obtaining as much as $2,000 in public funds for each illegal contribution. And Adams and those directly, they falsely certify compliance with the campaign finance rules. So Robert Lawrence says that sounds illegal in itself. No, if the government can decide if that's their way of making sure everybody, like if you give your one candidate, the guy who lives on your block, $100, well, New York City looks at that and says, okay, well, Bob the plumber, we're going to give you $800. Here you go. They're trying to allow, it seems like a poor use of things, but you could do it. So anyway, they get through who are some of the people who funneled benefits. They include a Turkish diplomatic establishment, a senior official there, who facilitated many donations and arranged for Adams and his companions to receive free or discounted travel on Turkey's national airline, which is owned significantly by the Turkish government, to destinations including France, China, Sri Lanka, India, Hungary, and Turkey itself. The Turkish official and other Turkish nationals further arranged for Adams and his companions to receive, among other things, free rooms at opulent hotels, free meals at restaurants, and free luxurious entertainment while in Turkey. Yes, these are FARA violations, chat. So they did a bunch of things to shield the solicitations. Sometimes he paid a nominal fee to create the idea of having paid for the travel that's heavily discounted. Other times, there were fake paper trails falsely suggesting he planned to pay for the benefits that were actually free. He also deleted messages with others involved in his misconduct, including one instance, assuring a co-conspirator in writing that he always deleted her messages. Chat, my beautiful chat. My beautiful chatterinos, my beautiful chattel. This is a tattle machine. This is a tattle machine. And then when you talk about deleting stuff.
Nigga, is you taking notes on a criminal fucking conspiracy? What the fuck is you thinking, man?
Good Lord, why would you do that? Oh. Yes. So, in September of 2021, the Turkish official told the defendant it was his turn to repay them. by pressuring the New York City Fire Department to facilitate the opening of a new Turkish consular building, a 36-story skyscraper without a fire inspection, in time for a high-profile visit by Turkey's President Erdogan. At the time, the building would have failed a fire inspection. In exchange for the free travel, Adams did as instructed. Because of his pressure on the FDNY, and you know why it's called the FDNY? As I've been told, it's called the FDNY because the fire department comes first. That's why they call it the FDNY, because the fire department comes first. I've heard that from a firefighter before. I'm like, that's a pretty solid thing. It's like the Marine Corps saying, like, God, core country. And you're like, it's an interesting order. Because the assessment of the fire safety was told he would lose his job if he failed to acquiesce. And after he intervened, the skyscrapers opened as requested. So the New York City's matching funds program. So this is where I think this is interesting, guys, when you read about this. Campaign Finance Board oversees and administers publicly funded campaign finance system for municipal elections. It provides eligible candidates with public funds to match small dollar contributions from New York City residents. It's intended to incentivize candidates to finance their campaigns by seeking out individual citizens instead of seeking large contributions from a limited number of donors. And it empowers more people to run for office who don't have access to money. And I think that on its face, that doesn't sound like a bad idea. It doesn't sound like a bad idea. So for mayoral candidates in the 2021 and 2025 election cycle, which we're coming to, it operated like this. You had to have a minimum number of contributions and raise a minimum amount of qualifying contributions from individual residents. If you opted into the program, you had to sign and notarize certification attesting that they understood they're responsible for reading and understanding, complying with, and ensuring their campaign's compliance with the statutes and rules. And if there was a breach, in the event of a breach, they would be ineligible to receive additional funds and be required to return all the money they previously received. The matching funds program will provide up to $8 in matching funds for each $1, up to $250 from New York City residents. Now, you notice why the 2,000 showed up there, because, well, 250 times 8 is, 2,000. So, in other words, for each eligible contribution of $250, a participant candidate collected $2,000. The matching funds program will provide up to $12.9 million, almost $13 million, almost $12.953 million in matching funds for qualifying mayoral candidates during the primary general elections in the 2021 election cycle, and over $14 million in the 2025 cycle. Now, you guys are saying, did this allow AOC to run? No, this didn't allow AOC to run. She ran in Congress. So AOC did not run for city government. KJ says it's God Country Core, but close enough. Yeah, I get. Yeah, thank you. Patty, you bring up an interesting statement, and it does make sense. And I think that's part of the reason why we're running into problems. He's running into problems here. So certain kinds of contributions were prohibited entirely. Straw contributions from people who are not U.S. citizens or lawful permanent residents, contributions of foreign entities and organizations, from corporations, and contributions that were made, received, solicited, or violation of any local, state, or federal law. Now, you'd think Alvin Bragg's going to get involved and charge Eric Adams with a bunch of state-level felonies. I don't think so, but hey. Straw contributions were prohibited, but also illegal in the campaign finance handbook. So they talk about everything that happens here and that he had to sign up and do it all. So he was aware the law prohibited foreign conduit and corporate contributions because he signed off on it. And then they talk about within a year of becoming borough president, the defendant began building relationships with foreign nationals who were seeking influence with him. So in 2015, he travels to Turkey and established corrupt relationships. In 2015, he took 2 trips to Turkey. His first was arranged by the Turkish Consulate General in New York City. The Turkish consulate, and paid for in part by the Turkish consulate and in part by a for-profit educational conglomerate based in Istanbul. The second trip was arranged by the Turkish official and an entrepreneur who they introduced Turkish business people to politicians and other people whose influence may benefit the corporations in the United States. You know, this is the Forest stuff again, chat. So, Gray Fox is Hassan and Shank. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, possibly. You never know. You never know. You never know. Patty's saying this is a setup. No, it's just they all know the dirt they're doing. It's just they all know they're doing illegal shit. And when you step out of line, they'll hammer you. That's why Eric Adams is getting in trouble. He is an easy target, and they knew about it. For both trips, Adam received free business class tickets on the Turkish airline. He never reported all this, as we're required to do annually at all times. He didn't report this on the conflict of interest forms to the conflict of interest board. So he did this repeatedly, chat. Repeatedly. And there was a volunteer at his hall, known as one of his staffers, who served as a liaison to Eastern European Muslim countries, including Turkey. Well, I don't think he was doing a lot in, anywhere else in Eastern Europe, Muslim countries. Notice how that's worded. I don't think he's doing much in Bosnia, chat. The staffer accompanied him on his travel to Turkey and later coordinated many of the illegal campaign contributions and improper personal benefits. There you go. And in 2016, he accepted free luxury travel. In 2016 and 17, he solicited and accepted free and heavily discounted air travel from Turkish Airlines on 3 separate trips. Him and his domestic partner traveled to India. They purchased economy class tickets for herself and Adams for approximately $2,200. 2 days before they departed, they accepted upgrades to business class at no cost. Business class is the highest class offered. Had they purchased business class tickets, the tickets would have cost $15,000. It's a bit sus. Oh. So they do this. He accepted free business class tickets worth more than $35,000 total. And he does this repeatedly. He repeatedly receiving benefits. Going to these very nice fancy hotel rooms. A suite that costs $7,000 a night. He paid $600 for. So he didn't disclose any of these trips on his annual forms, despite a legal requirement to do so. He never discloses to the conflict of interest board. So this is how they get you. This is how they get you, chat. Because when you start lying, that's how they hammer you. And they talk about he continues as he ran for mayor, soliciting and accepting illegal campaign contributions. This is where you got to be careful with stuff, man. People start approaching, you got to be careful that you're not getting yes. Patty says, so what? It's against the fucking law, so you shouldn't fucking do it. That's what. Yeah, it's Bush League. This is nothing. It's enough to get you federally fucking indicted, so it's something. Just saying, man. If there's a law against doing something and you don't have the ability to defeat the federal government or stop them from indicting you, I would not recommend you engaging in that activity. I'm just saying. So just be careful. Just telling you, you got to be careful. You got to be smart, chat. You got to be smart. And it just, accepting hotel rooms, it keeps happening. You know, he accepted straw contributions from a local construction company. Remember, you can't receive corporate donations. This just goes on and on and on and on. He just, guys, you can't do what he did here. You got to be like, if you're going to solicit bribes, you got to be better about it. You have to be very down low on it. Okay. Number one, and number two, you can't use this thing here. Always in cash, never in writing, as Robert Barnes says. Always in cash, never in writing. But notice that, you know, when these staffers offered to help with aspects of the scheme, people responded, great. And then when somebody wrote, from what I gathered, you'll distribute the money, somebody says yes. It's because they were they've got the conversations, chat. They've got the conversations. You can't be stupid. You can't be stupid, chat. Can't be stupid. And then this is, like I said, this is one of the best ones. They intervened with the fire department to permit the consulate to occupy a skyscraper that hadn't passed the fire safety inspection. And that's what he did. He accepted all this shit and incurred federal liability to fuck with the fire marshal. That's ridiculous. Imagine that. Imagine that. You are a government official. You are going to get in trouble with the federal government. You're breaking federal laws. And what's it over? A fire marshal not certifying a building. Can you believe that? Can you believe, like, of all the things you're going to get in trouble for, is making a fire marshal, you know, leaning on a fire marshal to approve a building. That's ridiculous. So anyways, they talk about the 36-story building located at the United Nations Plaza, and it's a Turkish consulate. It's a Turkish house. It's the head of the diplomatic mission there, including the Turkish consulate. Well, they wanted to open the Turkish house on September 20th, 2021. Well, there was an issue there because there was not a fire safety inspection. And the FDNY referred to a letter of defect, which is a prerequisite to the issuance of a TCO for the Turkish house. There were defects in the building's fire safety systems. Yeah, so they leaned on him, and they told him, and they leaned on the Bureau of Fire Prevention, which is a pretty important organization, they would argue. They don't want start fires to come out. But they refused, citing numerous safety defects, some of which were serious, and the likelihood the building would fail fire inspections. So, well, anyways, the Turkish official called and stated it was now his turn to support Turkey. The Adams staffer relayed this message to Adams, said Adams responded, I know, I have to pay up now. So they scheduled a meeting with the fire commissioner. Oh, God. And it's just, they did all this for a fucking building to get a fire safety permit. Of all the things you're going to do it for, that's what you do this for. That's the sad part. The sprinklers were filled with tea. That was against regulations. Yes, yes, Bushmaster. Yes, the smoke detectors kept chirping and they couldn't shut them off. Someone says, remember, kids, code is the bare minimum standard. Yes. Yes. So the FDNY commissioner said that he was loyal and trustworthy. And Adams responded he would respond to try to attend the September 11th memorial service to speak with the commissioner for a half hour about the fire department. So he even held out, like, maybe I'll show up to your September 11th thing, Chief. I don't know. But he said that the Turks need a letter from the FDNY to the Department of Buildings. They have some issues with the letter, and the FDNY commissioner responded, we'll get to it tomorrow. And they told the Turkish guy, don't worry, I'm on top of this. So here's the thing. The people in charge of the Fire Prevention Bureau sent an email to the fire chief saying, I don't see any way we can accept this. They have some major issues like central station and fan shutdowns, which are automatic violations. There are over 60 defects, and some of them are 5 to 10 problems each. You can't go beyond 20 defects without a violation order. And I believe it tells us this building is not safe to occupy. That's how bad it is. Like, no, nobody could go in this building. They'll fucking die. It's dangerous, chat. That's how bad it is there. That's how bad it is. This building is dangerous. We can't let people in there. People will die. Oh. So there were issues between Adams and the Turkish official, and they said, there's a difference between the opinion of the inspector and the private alarm engineer. I'm sure they had a difference of opinion. So this is how they get through all of it. And anyways, they did a conditional letter of no objection to allowing people to in there. The chief of the department informed that if the FDNY did not assist the Turkish consulate and engage the TCO, both the chief of the department and the fire prevention chief would lose their jobs. Well, there you go. There you go. The fire prevention chief had never before written a conditional letter of no objection, which is not standard procedure. It was unprecedented. Yeah. So there you go. Did all this for fucking fire alarms. Not even like covering up, like, I get it, covering up a murder, facilitating drug trafficking or serious criminal activity. No. Making sure that the smoke detectors worked in a fucking building. That was what he did here. But anyways, they list all of his benefits out. Look at all the crap he received. And he continued his corrupt relationship after becoming mayor. So they hit him up, chat, for a bunch of different crimes here. And then you can see, why did that go off? It's just, it keeps happening, and he keeps going. And it keeps going. So here you go. Conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Remember, chat, when you commit fraud and you use electronic means, it's wire fraud. Federal program bribery and to receive campaign contributions by foreign nationals. Those are all federal crimes, even if you're not running for federal office. Oh, no. Oh, no. Remember, wire fraud, guys. You can get like 15 years on that. Whoa, that's no good. That's no good, chat. That is no good. Just wire fraud is count 2. Oh. Oh. Count 3. Solicitation of contributions by a foreign national. More solicitation by a foreign national. Bribery. Good old bribery. And then they're seeking forfeiture allegations. So as a result of committing these acts, that they want him to forfeit any real property and personal that is derived from proceeds traceable, not including a limited sum of money, United States currency, representing the amount of proceeds traceable to the commission of said offenses. So they're going to go through and take everything they can from him. So they are looking for everything he did. So, yeah, J-Rock says so far we got 45 years. Yep. Yeah. And, yeah, basically accepting foreign campaign contributions, foreign things on benefit of lobbying. Now, the reason why he didn't get far is he wasn't lobbying on behalf to the U.S. government. So it wasn't a FAR issue, but they very likely could have done that because as a mayor of New York City, I'm sure he did work with AOC, Chuck Schumer, Kristen Gillibrand to secure money and funding for New York City projects that the Turks would have likely been involved in. So I'm surprised he didn't get far, but yeah, this is where you do all this stuff and you tread in dangerous territory. Now, yes, is some of this Eric Adams possibly being involved in speaking out against the immigration issues? Maybe, but remember, this goes back a long way. This is a long time coming. This has probably been a brewing investigation. So I don't know if this is necessarily relationship to the other stuff that's gone on, to the Tim Pool stuff, balancing it out, saying, look, we're going after these guys. Now, I could see they have some of these waiting in the back corner till they need them. And I think this is one of those. They had this sitting off to the side, and they brought the charges when they felt it was necessary for optics purposes. But yeah, not a good idea. He didn't get fired because Schumer showed up to the office and told him to take the dive. I very could likely see them doing that. I could see them trying to give him an opportunity out here because if they go down the Farah road, that opens up who he communicated with. But more importantly, with Farah, if he gave money then to enhance things to help the Turks, wherever that money went becomes an issue. And I'm sure that money went into Chuck Schumer's pockets and AOC's pockets and other federal government officials' pockets. So I'm assuming there's probably a limit on the FARA stuff there. But still, these are violations of FARA at the end of the day, whether or not he got charged for them. And he's very lucky he didn't get indicted for it. You can only get charged if you go against the Jews. Well, not saying that's not true either. So, yes, that's a very interesting thing that happened to him here. Like I said, that's kind of the crash course in it, chat. And with that being said, we are all caught up, chat. There was one more story I wanted to get to, but I'll probably do that as a standalone because I do think it's very interesting. It's a lawsuit between the Mountain West Conference and the Pac-12. Football conferences are suing each other now, and it's not over TV rights, but it's about poaching teams. It's very interesting. Oh. So I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, chat. I want to thank everybody over in locals. I do want to say there was Shade Chaser said a $2 tip. Not just Springfield, Ohio. My god kids had bomb threats, and they live. Wait, where'd it go? My kids have bomb threats, and they live a military base out west. The Springfield Haitians aren't that special. Well, yeah, there's that too. There's that. Oh my god, you guys are. Oh jeez. I guess we can bring this up. We'll do this one real quick. This is about the least risque one I can bring up from locals. Oh. Oh, chat. There you go. There you go. I don't want to eat there personally. I want to make sure we're all caught up. We got that one. Yeah, I think we're all caught up tonight, chat. So I want to thank everybody for being here over on Locals, Rumble, and here on YouTube, and also for Twitch. However, the 5 people. We got 5 people tonight on Twitch. Woohoo! That's an upgrade. Have not had that happen before. So there you go. Let's see here. Joe Schmo says, can Adams claim to be a victim of money laundering, turn the witness against the Turkish agents? No. I'm sure they have multiple statements and comments from him where he knew what he was doing and has a problem. So guys, yeah, please give me, if you guys are new, we do this every Thursday. Thank you for being here. 547 people. Guys, thank you so much for sticking around. Yeah, if you guys like this, please give me a like. I would appreciate it. Helps with the algorithm. Also, subscribe if you're new, guys. We do stuff pretty much. We try to do stuff every night. If there's stuff during the day and I'm home and available, I will do it. But obviously, sometimes, a lot of days I'm not available. Next week, we are going to try to do the trial of Toby Heron. He's a guy down in Southern Ohio. He's accused of murdering his girlfriend. And he apparently is acting like a spasmatron in court. So it sounds really hilarious. We're gonna watch that. And then next week, starting the week of the 7th, Sarah Boone's trial begins jury selection. I have a feeling it's going to happen no matter what. But we'll find out tomorrow. But yes, tomorrow, next week, there will be a trial stream. We'll be watching it, trying to catch up. Popcorn Power says, no Clyde. Well, hold on. Or it says, finally, trial streams. It's been like, we did one in the last 2 weeks, man. Anyways, Clyde, come here, buddy. Clyde. Come here, bud. Come on. Hey, Clyde. Come here. Come here. Come on, buddy. Come on. Clyde, come here. Come on, Clyde. Hey, look. Hey, come here. Come here. Look, here. You want one? Hey, come here. Come on. Come on. Hey, come here. Hi. Come here. Buddy, come on. Up here, buddy. Come on. I'm not going to chase you. Come on. Come on, Clyde. Come on. Up. Clyde, come here. Up here. Dingleberry. What the hell are you looking at? There's nothing over there, buddy. Come on. It's a vacuum cleaner. It scares the crap out of you. Come on. Clyde. Hey. Okay, guys, he's not, I can't chase him. He's not coming over. Poor dog feels like he's in trouble. Come on, Bubba. Hey. What are you doing? Come here. Do you want more treats? Huh? You want more treats? Come on. Come here. Clyde, come on. Okay, well, now he's sitting on my feet, so. Oh, there you go. Are you going to come up here now? Come on. Come here. Come on. Come on, buddy. I can't chase you. Come on. I can't chase you. You outrun me. We know how this works already. Come on, Clyde. All right. Well, fine. I guess he doesn't want up. Maybe he'll show up for locals, chat. Maybe he'll show up for locals. He wants more Bull Keen. He wants to make it interesting. Dog 1U0. No, it's 2-0 tonight for Clyde. So, anyways, we're all done. And guys, we're going straight over to locals, potentiallycriminal.locals.com to hang out. Join us with the 1 month free promo code, not guilty. You'll get to hang out and listen to the show tonight. Yeah, thank you all for being here. I guess with that bombshell, we're not having a doggo right now. Sorry, chat. He is here. You heard him click clack in there. I know the Haitians did not eat him. So, also, guys, episode 133. 133 weeks in a row of doing this. Pretty cool. I think it's pretty good. Thank you all for being here. And just remember, until next time, chat, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. Unless you're Eric Adams and you're probably screwed. Still not guilty yet. Or you're Hannah Reed. She's guilty. But Sarah Boone, still not guilty. And Nick Rekieta is still not guilty. And that guy in Chicago who tried to hide the murder of his girlfriend, he's technically still not guilty too. But remember, guys, sanitize your crime scenes. Sanitize your crime scenes. And also remember, buy good medical equipment. So, good night, everybody, and take care. Good night, everyone.
Weapons blacksmithing and models of planes, esoteric works and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy